Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Me Live broadcast of the WTRL Zwift Racing League. We are into season 2, week number 4. I'm Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll. Next to me, we're out on the UCI Harrogate course for 2 laps today. Yesterday, the Premier Division took on 3 laps, and it proved to be a very, very difficult course as far as race of attrition. And this morning in APAC, that's what we saw as well. A lot of completely splintered packs in APAC this morning. I'm expecting nothing less. Today, we are making our way across the divisions in order to cover a breadth of the community. I talked about that last week on the World of Zwift. So today, we'll be covering Division 4 for the men's EMEA East and West. And then the women's, there's 2 divisions, so we'll be trying to get into both of those as best as we possibly can to try and spread coverage and give everybody a shout out that's a part of the awesome Zwift Racing League. Largest sporting event I know of in the world on a weekly basis happening right now, Dave.
Would not contest that. That's for sure. But I tell you, this course, Nathan, if you have teams that want to blow the race up, they've got a lot to work with here. We talked about how last week, Innsbruck, the KOM after party, that has the biggest, toughest climb we've ever seen. Well, this is a tougher course. It just keeps coming at you, just body blow after body blow, as we were saying. So, incredibly exciting racing. I'm excited to see this new group, some new names here for us as well, as you live up to your promise, Nathan, working your way through all of the different divisions. Today, Division 4. This is the Europe, Middle East, and Africa. They such a hotly contested group. There's so many top-level racers in this group. It's going to be interesting how this all sorts out. We'll have a chance to look at how the teams have been doing as we hit the 4th race of the season here for the communities. Nathan said 2 laps, that's 28K. Each lap is just slightly under 14K, but a tremendous amount of climbing. It just keeps coming at you. Relentless, ruthless, that's what it's like out there. We're excited about the racing today. And Nathan, it's just nonstop here. From here on in, we work our way west, follow the sun.
Yep, that's right. It's going to just keep on moving across the EMEA. So let's take a quick look at the situation here with the course, and then we'll jump right down into the racing. Everybody knows exactly what we are looking at here. They're going to be out on Harrogate there. It's going, well, now it's going to be one lap shorter actually than we're seeing here with the 41.6. So that was yesterday's Premier Division on the graphic there. So we're actually doing 2 laps out here. But difficult course, as you can see. KOM is the main point of contention. But I also think that the sprint section out there, Dave, that's also going to be something to be watching out for. I think a lot of attacks do go through that sprint section. That steady rise is what the A's men's have just gotten out onto. And there's this 3% gradient right from the get-go that they have to deal with. A little bit of a ride through the pastures, and then the KOM and that sprint are the second pinch point. So it's kind of for me, Dave, this course is a tale of 2 stories with a little bit of a side note at the end with that sprint. Really it's that kick up into the pastures then after that 3% gradient, and then on to the KOM for the second story. And then from there, that sprint with a little bit of a rise on it really can put the riders into a little bit of hurt there, Dave. I think that's really where the main punch points are going to be. Obviously, the climb into the finish line. Also, people are going to be thinking about that for the sprint finish. If you're with the pack, though, you're not usually getting dropped at that point.
No, you're right, but it is a complicated finish when you look at it for sure. It starts steep and then it it levels off, not never getting completely flat, but getting your timing right is critical. We're going to jump right in here again. 28 total K of racing. This is week 4 of the Zwift Racing League, and thank you for joining us. The numbers have been absolutely tremendous. Your feedback has been great. Love having you along for the ride. So again, you might say, depending on what division you're in, and this is Division 4 here, we still have some sorting out to do. And we'll get down to the knockout rounds at the end because there is a promotion element to this. And the teams that we've promoted out of the Community League have been more than holding their own. Kirkmeyer is one of them that was racing in this, not in this division per se, but racing out of Europe, Middle East, and Africa East. And they've gone on to, they're a perennial top 5 team week in, week out in the big leagues in the Premier. So get a look at a group here. If you're having a tough day, you're going to know immediately out here. You don't ride your way into this race. Use that the analogy of being a buoy out here. You never want to be completely off the front or out of the water per se, but you want to always be bobbing around near the front out here because there's going to be selection after selection. It's just body blow after body blow. You can get a lot of information on the riders here over in the right-hand corner. You can see their nationality, obviously. Watch per kilo, though. That's a big one. Also, you can monitor the splits, and this is a good example. Oftentimes you hear people, Nathan, saying, I want to see what's happening behind the front group. Well, here you go. Here's a good look. This is Dunn of the Kendall CC Racers team trying to chase back here. I think they can do it, Nathan. It's a really good example, though, of how hard it is to close a gap out here in esports.
This is what we talked about. Now look in the upper right-hand corner as you can see the little mini map and that rise, that initial rise, 3% gradient. It looks like these riders just had a hard time holding on through there. That extreme, intense 8% plus downhill into the pastures then, into the suburbs, I guess, going into the pastures in just a moment here.
Yeah.
This can be really difficult to bring back. We're seeing Bizzle Prizzle from ODZ, liking the name here. Sitting on the back, made this initial break, 165 beats per minute. It's about to hit the intense downhill, 17% plus in just a moment. And at that point, they're going to head. The next thing on their mind is going to be the King of the Mountain. Really just going to be about finding wheels. So if you made the group at this point, you could just need to sit pretty and wait. Any attacks at this point, most likely not going to do too much damage unless people are really suffering just to recover.
Completely agree. You could see we're positioning right now because if you were sitting in the back third of the group, all of a sudden you could see 2 gaps opening up. Nathan, remember we were talking about putting the jerseys on the cows and the sheep? Those are the very sheep I was talking about that would have the World Championship jersey. This was the 2019 Worlds, the last normal Worlds that we had, really. And it was what an affair. This group now you can see here, 5 riders. This is...
He thought he was going to get the Super Tuck to get back on terms. That's not going to happen with that much snowballing effect ahead. Right now, it's nothing but orange numbers. They can close it down, though, because that little... And they're actually lucky that there's that 3% gradient on the other end, but they have to come over the top with a lot of speed and continuance here. Oh, it's going to be difficult to bring it back. 3% negative now. The pack going to start rolling away. They have a lot of work cut out for them, and all that was with a little bit of inattentiveness. That's the only reason that happened. From what I could see, one or two riders just let a wheel go, and at this point, it's just slowly moving away. There's a great meme out there. The biggest expanses in the world, it was Antarctica. You've got the Sahara Desert, and then you've got over a 5-meter gap in Zwift.
Right.
That's
this right here. Right. I saw that meme. That was classic. So, yeah, Nathan, I guess it's one of those things, maybe a little counterintuitive. You think you can't go faster than a super tuck, right? Well, yeah, a group of 30 that's motivated with guys just throwing down the hammer go much faster than one rider super tucking on a relatively moderate grade. So we get a look at Margraf here. Nathan, thanks for doing this here. As we can see now, the standing, it's been Horowitz that are nearly perfect with 59 points, remembering that 60 would be 3 wins in a row, 20 points for the win out here today as well. The Belgian Zwift Riders Eagles 1 squad is tied right now with R3R ACDC, and right behind them is the LEQP Hunters. So Belgian Zwift Riders, then R3R, then LEQP. And it's Kendall CC. We were just with one of their riders a moment ago, sitting in 5th right now, 46 points. It's close here. Vikings, then ODZ Skilla in 7th. It's the CK Johan E-Stars with 41 points sitting in 8th right now. Bike Beat Racing in 9th. And Giant Holston in 10th. Now, this is Division 4 that we're with today. Get a feel right at the midpoint of the season. We've been working our way through Division 1, 2, and 3. Have made up our first 3 broadcasts. So, all right, Nathan, I'm glad we get to jump in with these guys on what's the most challenging day of racing, I would say, in Zwift Racing League history. This course, per se, World Championship 2019. Just, again, you can talk about the course a lot. It was interesting in the men's race yesterday. It was a massive group because of the way that they raced. The women's race had that attrition that we saw. It was, again, how about Heino putting 5 riders into that final group? What an amazing team and story they have been. Back to the action here. This is going to be Ostvold that we're looking at riding up on the front. This group has been reduced significantly. This is what I expected to see yesterday, but never did really materialize.
Clap now toward the front for the Vikings here. They just came off that pass we had talked about here. This is the next pressure point into the KOM. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, there is the marker. You're going to have about a 3-minute clip. What was the times on the KOM here? That's my question. I think we're looking at like 2 minutes or so, 2 to 3 minutes here. Lup full gas here. CND, yep, with the D at the end. They're hammering away 8.7 watts per kilogram out of Germany. On the initial attack, 185 beats per minute, as you can see. Bartlett, they're trying to follow it up for the Giant Helston. There's Johansson there as well. And then it's going to be Martindale, well-known name there amongst the riders out on Zwift, trying to follow. Klepp there from the Vikings, the initial instigator. He's going to go backwards. Usually that initial kick on this climb doesn't pay off unless you were just trying to set yourself up to follow some wheels. A lot of times people think it's short enough that you can hold, but the reality is that after that initial kick, you do a ton of work, and anyone who's sitting on the wheels, they're going to find a little speed through here, and the second kick is usually what ends up winning this King in the Mountain, as well as splitting the group as Foley goes at 8 watts per kilogram.
Yeah, you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and it's very, very hard to sit in on this Yorkshire Worlds course. It's so challenging out here. It's sort of when you watch the racing here, you don't realize they're climbing quite as much as they are. It's important to note, Nathan, this is a team sport, and that is never truer than it is in the WTRL ZRL, where there's a lot of points. Those points really, as an individual, no one person could actually ever, no matter how good, if you were Eddie Merckx, you couldn't win the ZRL by yourself, because you've got to have at least 1, and more like 2 or 3, honestly, at least 3 other teammates that are contributing to the point tally, because all those points get put together. Now, we see a lot of points offered up in the community leagues at these bonus sprints. As we see the arch right there, these sprints now are scored 10 deep, 10 for the first rider over the line, down to 1 for the 10th rider. But Nathan, as you said, look at the damage being done out here early in the race now. We're just coming up on 10K in, and you can see it looks like someone dropped a hand grenade in the middle of the front group there. There are riders all over the shop right now.
Race 3R here. Turner off the front, fully 1 second back now at this point. John Helster is going to be Murray from ODZ, as well as an LEQP rider there out of the Netherlands making this move. Now, this is dangerous. A lot of times it'll come back together, but it depends on the level within the division as well, because if the level is such that you can get these stragglers, you can very quickly end up with like 10 off the front, a small group of 3 even. And, a lot of times I get a little... If I were racing this course, I'd be looking behind me and go, how big is that group behind? Has it splintered? Are they organized? Are they going to even get a snowball? So there is, a lot of times people come in, they're like, here's the plan for this course, and this is the book, and you play by the book. Well, the book changes as you go, because the reality is that the riders are right in the story. They've got the pens in hand with the bikes, and the reality is that right now, a break will go. There is no snowball happening because it's way too splintered, and you are all in on this attack now at the front.
Yeah, and the riders, if they want to contribute, they've got so much to work with this course. I mean, the chase is going to be so small because so many riders have had their legs absolutely destroyed out here on this first lap of racing. So again, you can see it's small groups all over the place now. Yeah, there'll be some regrouping that happens as small groups will rejoin, but this is like a living organism now. You're not going to see too many groups larger than what we're looking at on screen right now. What an exciting race. And I completely agree with a comment I saw a moment ago about so from season 1 with ZRL to season 2, I think the biggest change was the way that the points worked. They were always scored a little bit deeper, a little bit more incentive at these bonus sprints, or preems, as some people call them. But with it going 10 deep now, it really changes the game. And we're picking up now exactly what we're talking about here. So I want to reference again these points. So when you see 59 points, that's on a different table, because what we're looking at now are just today's race, the 4th race of season 2. Now, these points, then 40 points will be given to the winner of the race, but a rider along the way could pick up a tremendous number of points. And here, speaking of points, Nathan, get out your pen. Martindale on a great ride out here. Tell you what, this is why now just about all of those points have been distributed to the gentleman on your screen here.
Martindale followed up by Smollett, looked like. Turner was involved a little bit there too. We'll see what ends up playing out between those riders. But yeah, again, the incentivizing here. Michael Flanagan made a comment over on the Facebook post, actually, which was a really great comment coming on through. And he says that the Community League incentivizes splits because intermediates go 10 deep versus Premier Division at 3 deep only. And I'd have to agree, they're a really great job incentivizing a lot of the community members to really be able to find something at every point out there, as well as fastest segment time and not just the fastest, the first across the line. So a lot of different incentives that have given everybody something to race for and keeps everybody pushing, rather than kind of putting their hands in the air and kind of go, well, now at this point, it's just about first across the line. With those points going 10 deep, you've got a lot more to fight for throughout. And if you're just trying to be first across the line at the end of the day, we've seen it time and again in the community where some of these teams, they end up with 40 points by the end of the race. So there's a reality that, hey, you now have to fight for that and the scratch race across the line, which is a great battle, rather than kind of making people kind of sit up and play those just ride to the line tactics, sit in. You get a lot more dynamics because of it.
Completely agree, Nathan. That's why when you go to bike races in the United States and in the United Kingdom, you see preem laps to incentivize the crowd to get involved and the racers to put on a show. Same exact thing happening out here. It just stimulates the activity out here. And we have got a tremendous race going on for everybody just joining us now. We're about, well, actually great time to watch them finish up lap 1, because you get a look at what it looks like as they come through the finish area, because that's where a lot of points are going to be distributed about, well, exactly a lap and 2K from now. All right, Nathan, what have we got here now? 6.1K in, much larger group, one rider just off the front here.
Yeah, looking to try and get everybody the correct. There we go. So this is going to be we are trying to get across for everybody in the Division 4. Now, just as an idea, everybody, of what we're working with here, as far as how big the Zwift Racing League, and I think that is the talking point about this, is that I do like to try and keep a live narrative as best as we possibly can. So we'll go between these two races. and then we'll look to try and cover some of the sprints at the end across the categories. But the narratives that we're going to be able to play with here a little bit on the Division 1, Division 4 E1, there is a breakaway that's currently happening that we were just watching. Now we're over with the EMEA East 2 Division 4. So there are so many racers in EMEA that they had to have separate E1 and E2, and then all the way down through divisions 1, 2, 3, 4, I think all the way out to 8. So there's a lot going on here. Now, this division excites me because this snooze team has gotten on my radar. You can see they've got Conter here, UCI Pro level World Tour rider here. Tiger, we've got Oleski here. I mean, this is a team that I've heard a lot about so far, and I think we need to watch out for this team to try and get a breakaway happening very early. Team time trialing away at this point. Very interesting what they're trying to pull off here. Might have lost Dave. Dave, did I lose you there? You got a mute button going on?
Last time we saw this was at the World Championship reverse course in Richmond with the Saris, the Pros Closet team, trying to shock and awe in the early going here.
So, already in the 190, though, with Conter, it's going to be interesting because the snowball effect behind here with two guys, they're going to shut this down pretty quickly. Look at this arrow power up with the perfect timing now. But what's going to happen? Swallowed immediately. Inexperienced, perhaps, there, Dave.
Well, and now you counterattack them. You have to make them pay for that. That's why you don't do that now. Watch what happens here.
Yeah, full-on counter. They're going to be straight off the back. Bikes and Beers not even involved in the climb anymore. They're already at 180, 90 beats per minute. Conter from Snooze. And at the front now, what's happening? LG, CIM, and Project CH Lux. Where is Project CH Lux, though? I'm not seeing them toward the front here. And Shorter also involved here with Sonkovic. That's a well-known name amongst the racers out here. They actually have a Premier Division team, obviously. Jarvis now, PB Performa, and then it's going to be two guys there, currently sitting in third. Zwan, Golgi. So going to be Ginger Sitson is in here as well. This guy's been involved in the Zwift racing world for 5 years. Ginger Citizen is, before we even had Zwift Community Live, he was hanging out in the Nathan Garrett Twitch channel for these broadcasts. So good to see Ginger Citizen hammering away in there as well.
So if they could have held on, it would make some sense because there were some points to grab up here. There's the gantry as we're going to score again 10 deep here. And these points really make a big, big difference. It's almost like adding an extra quality rider to your team. If you can hunt for these points along the way, as it looks like you wonder what happens now. How much regrouping do you see? I don't think they're going to push on too hard. Maybe a little bit of a reprieve for a moment.
Yeah, we do see that it is going to be VO2 Project UK now with a little bit of a
maybe not.
10 watts per kilogram real quick here. Nicholas looks like he's going to be taking down these points for the team. And then it's going to be the Dutch team there coming in for second, I believe. Yep, and then it's going to be Elderman there from Snooze able to hang on. Wow, what a great job from Elderman. I think he was involved in that initial attack, able to hold on over the top here. We're going to maybe... Now, do you see the difference here, though? There's a big enough group behind. It's going to it's going to come back together, regroup, and now the snowball will come. A break will not stick away because of how that climb managed, because of how large that chase is. See, even with these stragglers, they're going to get on board with Elderman here, but that group, even that second group behind there, they've got 10 riders. Snowball, no problem. They'll be right back on terms in just a moment.
So I can recognize that it is a lot to take in, a lot to digest, as they say. So it's almost like that kingdom, phylum, order, species thing when you look at how it breaks down. This is the Zwift Racing League. And then you have to
animal kingdom. It's the animal kingdom. The herd team is going to love you, Dave. The herd teams are going to love you.
Yeah, this falls right into their trap, doesn't it? But then you have the Premier League, which is Monday's racing, there's quite a few differences actually between Premier and Community. They did 3 laps versus 2 laps out here for Community. And I know a lot of Community riders are like, thanks be to God that that's the case, because 3 was excessive, no doubt. So that being said, then, this is not only Europe, Middle East, and Africa that we're looking at as far as all of these different divisions here. And then we also have the East and the West split to look at. We've got the West coming up a little bit later, and of course the women as well, as their racing will be underway shortly out here. Nathan, a little bit of healing, welding of these two groups together here. And that is not without effort there. But this chase group is going to take a big, deep breath. Good job out there, guys. As look at the number there. Only 10 or make it 11K in, all round up. But we're over 200 meters of climbing. In old money, that's 600 feet, Nathan. That is a lot of climbing in 6 miles. 600 feet, 6 miles. You are definitely doing a lot of work. Here's an attack. Here we go. I love it. You got to attack when the race is already in the gutter, and this rider is going to make it absolutely brutal. At least I thought I saw a rider going off the front.
The Dutch rider, Kolja, he's been super aggressive actually here. He even has a feather power up. He's going to go for it. Getting the jump on them, 2% uphill gradient. Perfect timing there on that. 53 kilometers per hour. He's not going to be brought back by Nichols there. He's going to get those full points across the line. Then it's going to be LGP second, and then Snooze with Elderman continues to be on a run here, getting consistency of points. His teammate Philippe there as well. Nunes from Tugas, and it was going to be Bromley there. Does look like we do have Jarvis now with a little bit of a break. The last one to make this here. Conter now making his way forward. He was in a lot of trouble, Conter. He's worked his way forward because he was at the absolute back after that attempt by Snooze, the TT off the front. I saw him falling off pace, having to work his way, falling off the group, and then had to work his way through the whole group up and over the top of the KOM. So great job by Contra to get back on terms.
Just look at what's happening in front of us here, Nathan.
WEZ.
You don't see many races like this, do you? Yeah, here's World Elite Zwifters having at it. Good to see them up in the mix. Martingale's having a tremendous ride again. This is the World Elite Zwifter presented by Zeal CC, the great group out of Miami there. But Nathan, what an active race. They are showing the riders in this group the back door over and over. If you've made it to this point now, so this is where we left the division, Division 4, E1 Division 4
Division 4
race a little bit earlier. Right.
No worries there, Dave. Completely understandable.
So, the welcome to a commentator's nightmare, right? With just, and again, good problem to have. This many racers out here is bananas, but we wouldn't have it any other way. As you were saying at the top of the show, Nathan, this is week by week. As far as endurance sports goes, there's no bigger participation race out there. It's almost 10,000 people. And add in, what happens on Thursdays. We always love the World Tactical Racing League's team time trial, as they're coming up on 100 weeks of racing. So big thank you to Martin and Steven there. So watching on the split screen now, two names that make a lot of sense. Mole over here for the LEQP team, and World Elite Zwifters, Martingale, in a bigger group. Definitely different races going on.
Yeah, very different races. And that's the interesting thing, is that I believe this course, as we were talking about earlier, really leaves it up to the racers to make the race. And, and because of that, you will see it play out very differently between every one of the categories. This morning, we saw breakaway situations of just 3 riders going to the line, solo riders going to the line. Now here we do see this smaller group. It looks like 7 riders off the front in the E1 Division 4. It's going to be Small, Bartlett, Murray, as well as Martindale. Foley has made this group, and then it's going to be Gazen Mueller from the Bike Beat Racing team. So that's the situation currently out on course right now. We'll see how the points end up working out, but only 6 seconds back. It is going to be Klepp. They're on the chase. This is a large enough group they could do something here. Jay Bird, race 3R. They're going to have to burn a lot of matches to bring it back. So that I think they're going to bring them back. They seem super motivated, but the riders up front, they can kind of save some matches now and just let them do so. Okay, fine. The KOM's going to kill you.
I agree with you. They are going to bring them back. It's going to be burning more than just one match. You're going to have to use a couple here. But the tactics up in that front group right now, no one looks like they want to press on so hard, and you're seeing it right in front of your eyes. Well, we're watching some fantastic racing out here. Absolutely love this course. There's no way to fake it around Harrogate, or I should say Yorkshire here. So marrying these two like two ketchup bottles, turning into one here at the end of your shift. Dripping them together.
See if we can bring in some preems here from this race. We do have a lot that has happened already. I'm seeing Martindale with a ton of points already here. So let's see how this
What a
ends up.
monster, huh?
Yeah, he has
So,
had a really good race here so far.
Nathan, one of the things that I love that you're doing here by jumping around, it gives us a chance to highlight some of the riders to watch from these different groups as well. And so I'll be honest, this is the first time I've been able to really pick up on George Martindale of the Tri-Central UK team. But he and Neil Turner have been lighting it up out here. Great job, Neil. R3R ACDC rider there, picking up 18 points as well through the bonuses that we've already contested. Luke Foley in third on points, tied actually, I should say, with Stein Moll. And we were in with Stein watching him from his perspective. And then just right behind them, David Bartlett and Mark. So obviously, Nathan, smart. The teams have assigned riders to go out and be preem hunters today. That's the way I'd do it.
Yeah, Martindale from Tri-Central UK. They're tied with Neil Turner, R3R ACDC. It makes me think maybe a little more intensity here coming out of that R3R than the Fleetwood Mac boys, though, that we see on Thursdays. A little bit more rock and roll happening.
Take it easy. I'm going to stand up for the Fleetwood Mac guys. It's not just about how loud you are, believe me. That's an inside joke.
Neil Turner's bringing the thunder. I'll just say that. He's bringing the thunder.
You,
here we go, Turner.
I hear you. Hell's bells out there.
That's what this feels like, I bet, for Turner at this point. So nice. I love in the team names. We do see still a gap of 34 seconds back to anybody who's chasing here with Hiskey and the rest. They're not going to be bringing this back for 34. 34 is going to stick at this point, but this is going to be the winner's going to come out of this group. They're about to hit the KOM for the second time. We'll see how these points end up playing out up and over the top. Will Martindale do it again? He is the better climber, I think. Turner maybe the better sprinter. Actually,
any relation, you think, to Bruce Bird with Jay Bird here? Canadian? I'm wondering. No, incorrect. No, it's not. It's the Union Jack. So not Bruce Bird. The same as the Barnes. Remember we went through that for about 18 weeks until.
Yeah, and the Barnes are like other sides of the world, literally.
Yeah, they're like, this is absurd that we're doing this, right? So yeah, people are wondering, what is that? So there's a team called R3R, and they've been great. World Bicycle Relief, they have benefited with their efforts, raising thousands and thousands of dollars, just like our friends at WTRL. So that being said, they have a team called Fleetwood Mac. They use band names. Nathan was talking. Well, let's see. You've got planets are used by one team, or space phenomenon, I guess you'd say, with Z-Sun. The animals with the herd of, etc. Herd of otters, herd of hippos, rhinos. So creativity in the team names is really what I'm circling back to as I throw it back to you, Nathan, as we look at a group that is now what we would say stuck in on the second lap. This course that never lays off. Yeah, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. They're on a 6% grade right now as we look at about a half an hour in. But it has not been easy to get here. But if you're in this group, there's a lot waiting for you at the finish line. Again, 40, 35, and 30 for the first three. So it really is weighted heavily, as it should be, for the riders who are up on the podium. But it's going to be the second and third riders on the teams that always seem to make the difference. Those are the points that, when you add them all up, will help us sort out who the top team is today, who's going to get the 20 points.
Here comes Lup.
And hope.
Lup giving a kick now. Here we go. Is he going to hold the arrow power up? Just didn't make it happen there. It is going to be more orange numbers for Small, but Foley leading things out from the get-go almost. Was he going to hold on? Martindale now come over the top, but no. It's going to be Gazmuller there from Bike Beat. Over the top of Martindale and Foley. Foley hangs on for second.
It worked. Yeah, so that feather power up there, reducing your weight by 10% for 15 seconds. I thought we might just kind of get snagged at the line, but stays away. And do we see a split?
This is a danger moment right here. You have to get back on wheels now, because this will not come back. They will snowball. There's more riders up ahead, 3 riders behind. Even those riders are in danger right now. That gap might look small, but these riders are going to start their super tuck, and these wins will not get as much. And you do see the arrow power up there coming from Madsen. He knows it. That was very smart. He's going to carry Lupp up with him, and Johansson, they will get back on terms. These riders, they are done. It is over for them as far as their race goes. Lots of points across the line still, though, so they do need to battle it out. Right. But up ahead here, this is the main points that will be happening on the day. Johansson, he a little bit of a slip there, 183, done as well. This is your main group.
Yeah, it's interesting. In any other format, you would say done. If you're out of the side of the top 10, you're riding for your own result. But here, a lot of points still available. So those guys have a ton to race for. It's just they're done as far as having a chance to win the race out here today, because this group is not coming back. You're 100% right, Nathan. It's that war of attrition out here. So you get a really good look. It's like being a rocket sled on rails as you make your way through beautiful Harrogate. What a fantastic sight this was for the World Championships. And how many riders in this group? Is it 8 that we're looking at now? The great 8 here?
Yeah, it's going to be 8 riders here at this point. Foley now with a little bit of a kick. He pushed 8 watts per kilogram real quickly, made his way to the front, but it wasn't really for an attack. It's an interesting section, of course, for those that may be racing still yet today. Just as a reminder, just as a tactical thing, really it's the 2% right here that puts people into the hurt locker, because after that downhill, you take that left-hand turn, and everybody's going to have momentum. You can float through the pack from there and then put the pressure on through this false flat, because everyone's going to have a kick that's rested at that point. They'll all be able to hang on. But if you get a gap right here and continue on, you could get a breakaway, especially with a smaller group. And most people aren't going to want to chase. The sprint might shut it down, but I think this is one of the best places on course to take a risk, honestly. Now, we do see it does look like it's going to come back together after a little bit of a punch there from Foley, as well as Lupp was on there. Now we're going to have our last sprint of the day before we head into the finish line.
All right. Well, and normally you'd say this will tell you a lot about who's going to win the race, right? A sprint just a few K before the finish.
They kind of just looked at each other here a little bit. They were like, well, we'll kind of go for it, but we want these points across the line.
There's so much to play for. Right, you hate to expose yourself at all, and be a victim of a counterattack if you go too hard for those points. That's where the risk isn't worth the reward, I would say, because we're into full-on finale mode now out here. It's basically 28K of racing for this one to be done and dusted. This is your front group. These are the gladiators of Zwift, no doubt about it here. It's been a real battle to get to this point. But if someone said, what do you mean when you say the race is a race of attrition? Well, exactly this. Only the strong have survived to be in this front group to contest for the win here, Nathan. Now, basically, the lion's share of the points here will be distributed amongst these riders. And you wonder now, do you see, as I take a look, do some inventory, what team has 2 in this group, or does any? I think we've only got 1 squad with 2.
I'm looking
Let's
through,
see
and
here.
It does look, I believe, Giant Helston. They're both in orange.
That's the orange
there,
jersey.
So it may be Giant Helston.
Actually, the pink and white as well here. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that is matching there. That is matching. That is going to be LEQP. I'm not seeing the tags in
one of
the
our
names,
top
though,
teams.
so we'll have to wait and see. They are a top team for sure. When you say race of attrition, I get like images. I've always had an image in my mind that I haven't actually ever put language to. It's funny, but race of attrition makes me think of like pouring water over a stove and turning the heat on and seeing how much who can have the most water left at the end of the day once you turn the heat on. That's really what it comes down to. Who's got the most left after just letting that heat go up and up and up and up and evaporate? Whoever's got a little bit left, go ahead.
I was going to say exactly your thought. A puddle in a parking lot on a summer day. Who's the last puddle with water in it? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Little by little, you just chip away until there's nothing left. It's the true endurance race a lot of times when it comes to attrition. And the reality of this, I mean, it isn't a long race, but the amount of climbing and punches that come at you, it just tends to whittle away at the riders.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday during premiere that the amount of climbing when you do 3 laps is more than when we talked about the hardest climb ever in ZRL history. Well, this is the hardest day, kilometer by kilometer out here. And this is it, folks. Brace yourself. Buckle up. It's sprint time. So, Nathan, this is always one that requires precise timing. There's no question that you can't detonate bomb too early. I'm going to throw it over to you because this is one of the most interesting sprints in the world of Zwift. And here we go. It starts now with a flurry of power-ups.
Little bit of an early power up there coming from London. It was way too early on that arrow power up. Unless he was really struggling, he should have saved it for the last 300 meters. The patient usually win on this, but you could end up with a little bit of a split, and there it is. But no, here comes, it looks like LEQP. Now they are one of the leaders in this series, trying to come over the top. Martindale, small, 10 watts per kilogram. Where's the big orange numbers here? Everybody, as we said, a race of insurance, but Martindale does have a kick. 11 watts per kilogram. They're waiting until the last 100 meters. Is he going to be able to get away with it? It looks like it is going to be an arrow power up to the line. Sandrin from SZ trying to come across. Not going to be happening. And it is Martindale taking it down, followed up by Klepp, I believe. Klepp now coming across the line from the Vikings there for 7th place across the line. Murray from ODZ. Now, this is a situation that's interesting here with this second sprint, because this is what I was talking about, being able to kind of get away on that little bit of a punch. Looks like he was able to do just that, but solid kick there from Martindale. Takes it down across the line. Jordan Martindale, he went out 36 points for his team and just took the sprint across the line. Martindale's absolutely flying out there right now.
That's incredible. Did you say 36 bonus points before
36 bonus points before
added to 40? So he himself had 76 points. And he might have had a fastest segment, actually. Or did you include that?
I did not include that. So
yeah, there could be even more. Although, right, so possibly even more. That's incredible. That's going to be one of the big stars of week 4 of the ZRL. That's for sure. Martindale.
Nichols here
Jumping
now.
in.
Project UK. Killing it. VO2 project. He's got 2-second gap. I think he's going to walk away with this one. 7% gradient. Feather power up. I think he's going bottom to top. It'd be hard to catch at this point. But Conter from Snooze, 8 watts per kilogram. There's the feather power up. Will it come through the speed? Will it come through with some speed? 198 beats per minute here. 33 kilometers per hour. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he will have to settle for second. His teammate, Philippe, 9 watts per kilogram is going to come over the top, it looks like. And LGPCIM, though, they really timed that, it looks like.
Don't sleep on Snooze, though. They've got I was going to say monster points, but they're going to do pretty well here as far as the points being scored. Again, 10, 9, 8 on down to 1. Is still another sprint, isn't there? Yes, there is one more sprint before we have the final out here. Correct?
Yeah, one more sprint to go. Yes. Yep,
yeah,
one more
there
sprint.
we go. Losing my mind for a second. There's just so much racing going on as we're in now with E2, Division 4 from the East here for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. First time we've had a chance to join them. This Snooze team comes with quite a reputation, don't they, Nathan? A lot of people talking about this squad. Glad we get to see them in action out here.
I've heard a ton about them, actually. They've been definitely on people's radars, so it's good to see them, that we were able to catch what's going on here. And it does look like it is going to be the LGPCIM team there with 19 points, tied up with the Dutch team. Snooze there with Elderman. He's been super active toward the front end of this race. There was 16 at this point. Yao Nunes there from Team Rim. Toby Jarvis coming on through with 9. Ben Philippe from Snooze as well. Zwan from the Dutch team. And then it's going to be Tommy Blake from Vision. Hoeiler there as well from Vision. And it's going to be Liam Bromley there from LGCIM. So that's the current situation on the sprint points. There's one more sprint plus the finish to come.
Yeah, and this one, again, there's no better sprint to watch than what we have here in Harrogate. Basically that 5% drag for half a kilometer. It just always is a slugfest and really, really fun to watch. So that's what we're going to get here. We get a little preview, although as we saw from the previous race, they didn't really contest it, as everybody, I think, was as much as they could, trying to keep a little bit of a charge on the battery for that final sprint there, because these riders, it's been a rugged race to get to this point out here. It's just body blow after body blow being thrown at our riders. So one more little mini sprint, but again, 10 points, Nathan, for the first rider over the line. That is a lot of points.
Yeah, it is a ton of points there. And, I think, as you can see in the points currently right now, it's almost up into the 40s, as we had said earlier. It can really build up a lot. It is a team competition. That's one of the things I absolutely love about the Zwift Racing League, is how much of a part you can play in the entirety of the team in order to get you into those top spots. I think that's really what brought people out. It's a new thing in the world of cycling that you don't see a whole lot. You don't see this. It's very much been a very individual sport. Even amongst World Tour type stuff, you do have the team standings in World Tour, and people do go for that. It isn't a huge focus, but in the Zwift Racing League, it's much more of a focus here about the team being the first across the not the first across the line, but being the winners on the day, and how you can actually be a part of that. And we do see that playing out right in front of our eyes now, as the Dutch rider there, Close, as well as the Project UK rider there, Nichols, take some more points head to head. These two have been going at it at the top of this leaderboard.
Yeah, like Ali and Fraser out here. But Nathan, you're absolutely right. It's always been a team sport, but that is really hard to quantify and qualify for people who don't understand the nuances of professional cycling. But here in the ZRL, it's crystal clear how the teams matter based on points. It reminds me of a lot of the successful leagues that you see for high school collegiate mountain biking and road racing, where that distribution of points really encourages participation, and that camaraderie that comes with it is a huge part of the secret sauce of the ZRL. There is no doubt. So Nathan, pretty small group here at this point, late in the race. Previously, well, we just watched 8 riders come to the line. This time it looks like about 20 coming to the line. Very similar, though, in tactics.
It's going to be very similar. We're going to have to see how this ends up playing out. We did see a lot of early power outs being blown in the East 1. East 2, we'll see if they play it a little bit smarter. I felt like there was a little bit of inexperience amongst the crowd. Snooze, we saw them earlier making moves very early. Wondering who's got the good sprint on the day here. We might see somebody give it a little bit of a go out of here. There's enough teammates here, in my opinion, that if I was DSing this, I would send 1 or 2 off the front right now.
Why not? Set that trap. Certainly. And that's the beautiful thing about having a strong team with some depth, is it allows you the ability to make those master plays out here. So Nathan, you're absolutely right.
Dave. Look at this, Dave. We've got Snooze versus WEZ versus Insured versus Vision versus Dutch. They all have 1 or 2 riders at least.
Teams. Right. Yeah, and these are all teams with history, legacy teams. So, Nathan, going back now, because we're just about to engage in that sprint as we get ready to lock horns. If you see, well, on the steep part, the feather makes a lot more sense because it reduces your weight. It's the aerodynamics that you're looking for in that last 100 meters. Let's see who plays their cards right. We are locked and loaded. Gentlemen, this is not a drill. This is big-time bike racing back in Harrogate, United Kingdom. And there you go. It looks like the first, just what you were calling for, Nathan, just what you were calling for. The first attack goes clear, dropping that aero power up.
This was very well done, actually, by the WZ rider. Wasn't expecting it to get that much of a gap, but he came with momentum.
He's a monster.
He made sure that he had momentum going in. A lot of times people will use that aero power up without momentum, holding 800 watts at this point. He might have pulled an upset here. He's got to hold over 10, though, for a while. He's done this because of that momentum into that climb. He did not do that kind of slow down, then kick, and he's walked away with this one. 48 kilometers per hour. They're not catching him. 2 seconds. It's way too late. His teammate's going to come in for second. They're going to go 1-2. WEZ, followed up by Zwan from Dutch Racing there. Dutch Racing go 3 and 4. What a kick there, though, coming in from WEZ. That's the way you do it, everybody.
Good for them.
Think that, just really look at how they played that and how that rider came in with that momentum into the finish, into that little kick. The mistake is always made when you hit the power up on the kick. You've already slowed down. You don't take the momentum with you, and you end up in and amongst the pack and just being a lead out person rather than actually with any kind of a gap. We do have a little bit of a break area here from Calthrop there in the C's right now in the E1 Division 4. Wanted to jump on over before we head into the women's race. The women's race is going to be starting in 10 minutes from now. So we're going to jump across categories a little bit and try and cover some of the other riders in the B's and the C's and the D's as best we possibly can.
All right, so this is Calthrop that we're looking at, taking a 17-second advantage here over O'Mara. But that is a chase that's a solo chase because it looks like another 14 seconds back to Boris there. Yeah, that's what we've got here. So Well, anyone who says you can never make a breakaway workout on Zwift, I would recommend you take a look at what Caltrop's doing out here. See if he can hold on. I think it looks pretty good.
100%. Yeah, it looks like he's made this happen, especially on this course. It's a tough day to try and make it happen, but he's done
Yeah,
just that. So.
no doubt. I guess the good thing is there's no big group to chase you back, right? You don't have that 35 riders just in cruise control out there, motoring at 37K per hour. It's every man for himself. These are the C's that we're joining now. Again, there's not. That's it. That was the finish right there. We'll go back in with Boris now. This was okay. This is going to be a few riders together chasing.
Yeah, second's going to go to D. O'Mara. Then it's going to be Niernik. They're coming on through for the WRT team out of Belgium. And then a little bit of a sprint here coming from Hughes, the Welshman. There, Hoffman's there as well. Boris there coming out of Poland. He's going to end up settling for third place, it looks like, right at the line. Nipped there by the Rhinos. Boris going to settle there for the final place amongst that sprint there. Peel there from the Red Car Tri Club, able to break away a little bit with Ruver and the rest of these boys. It's going to start disappearing on us here. Let's go ahead and see if we can jump in with the rest
Look
of
at
the
that.
C's across.
Oh, the humanity of racers who finished their race. That gives you a feel. This is the Europe, Middle East, and Africa that we're looking at. Thousands of racers. This is the, Nathan, of all of the hours, so obviously the 24 different time zones around the globe, this 2-hour block is where we see the largest number of riders, correct? It has to be.
By far. Yeah. By far. Largest number of riders by far. So we have, I believe Martin might be able to give us some numbers on the number of riders, but it's massive when it comes
like a million.
to. It's just a million. I just call it a million. Blythe, Cates, Withy here, Bendini, Peterson with the coalition. It looks like trying to get on terms. Going to just barely do so with that drafting power up. This is going to be the C division. E2 Division 4 for the C's, making their way to the line of 181 beats per minute. Looks like the coalition is hammering. Going to go right on through. Blythe caught off guard a little bit here. Anything can happen amongst the C's. And I'm not kidding. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just rolled away. So, no, seriously, because it also matters with the speeds and the power differentiations, too. Like, there's different tactics at different speed levels and different power levels. So you can get away with things sometimes in other divisions. You can't get away in the A division, you know? So I wouldn't have been surprised.
The range and talent and ability is a little bit larger than you see at the very high level in the A's, right? The ability of these riders is not as much of a known quantity. Sometimes riders don't know what they've got in them, and they find out at racing at this level. That's for sure. This is Cates that we're in with. VCRT is the team. Doing some damage to this group. If you don't know your bike racing, you'd say it looks like everybody's just kind of cruising along right here. Well, no. That little gap right there tells you how much work they're doing trying to close that down as he's dangling off the front here with right around 3K to go as we pick up our C men here in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa group.
Women's race going to be starting in 7 minutes for those that are showing up for the women's Division 1. We'll also be in with the Division 2. So lots of the top racers in the world of Zwift, Zwift Racing League. I believe we got some Sox Watts. We got some Turbo. We've got some Aeonian. We've got all of the top teams. We'll see if HLH showing up this week. We saw an amazing break from her on the Innsbruck course with that King / Queen of the Mountain and able to take the win away in that division. We'll see how Sox Watch show up on the day. We'll also take a look at the current standings, but it looks like Cates, that's the story right now in front of us. VCRT. This is what I talked about. Remember I said 2% uphill gradient falls flat? Why is he? No. Go. Keep going, Cates. Keep going. No, let's not throw in the towel here at this point. He's like, I got my points for the team. I'm done. That's what that looked like. 4.0 now. Back at it. Now, I think he just needed a little bit of a rest there for a second.
You know what? Probably grabbing some Scratch Labs or something. He maybe had to reach, grab a drink because he's back on it. Whew. Hate to see all that work go for naught, as they say.
Mm-hmm. It would have been not not the most ideal. Not the most
What a
ideal.
great course this is. Finishing up things now. 2K to go here for Kate's. This neighborhood, it was. I mean, it just you couldn't find a better environment for racing and bringing all of the nations together. They were obviously in a different time pre-COVID that we're talking about. Well, this is a man now who 10-second gap here should be good, right?
I
I mean, it's certainly not a
think,
done deal. Not a
yeah,
done
I
deal,
mean,
but
it's not done. I mean, he does have, so Blythe here, a little bit of a gap. So his teammate doesn't really have any cards to play at this point, has been dropped. So really, it's all in at this point. You know, you thought maybe there were some cards to play, a little bit of tactics. 5.1 watts per kilometer, 175, maybe going to get back on terms. And then it'll just sit
maybe.
in. They definitely want to get rid of him, though. Peterson at 3.2 ahead and Chase Cates down. 13 seconds as it continues to go. I think VCRT have pulled this off. The climb here will tell us, though. That's really what's going to tell us what's going to happen.
They say the proof is in the pudding. This will be a good example here. That's a bit of a deceiving shot. You can see the riders who are chasing just swooping around the bend behind here. It's an individual effort. The sport really, how deep you dig is entirely up to you. And there's no question now that just a steady state effort for Cates is the name of the game. Put it up very, very close to the red zone, but don't blow up the engine. Don't blow a gasket out here now. You've got 1K. Most riders, that's a very definable distance of racing. Most riders know exactly what they can do for 1K. Get a nice little downhill bit here. Help recharge, try to build up some momentum. I think he's got it now, actually. This looks pretty good. Looks really good, actually. Good work, Cates. Nice job. Way to stay on it.
Yeah, I think he's pulled this one off. Good on him. It's 14 seconds. Withy, and it's going to be a sprint between those boys. But Kate's here from VRCT, may able to make it happen. Current standings here, if we can get an idea for this in this group. This is going to be East 2, Division 4. VCRT are currently in second place, actually. Herd of Cavorting Cavaliers. They were actually in first overall.
Excuse me?
So... that's what they're called. That's the name. That's their name. I mean, I'm
we're talking about creativity.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well,
Appreciate everybody on that one. Really appreciate that one. Thank you.
through the tough part of the climb, Nathan, you could see
That was
come
the
over
tough
that
part
crest.
of the broadcast. That's what that was.
Oh, you nailed it, though. I'm always impressed. That's a lot of meters, over 485 meters of climbing to make this one reality. What a win for Cates here. You got it. Nothing beats, Nathan, winning a bike race by yourself, right? So often you're in a group, you have that frenetic rush of adrenaline with the finishing sprint. Here you get to savor it. It's very nice. That's right there is what. Speak of savoring, Betty's. If anybody who went to Worlds, that was the most frequent stop for folks to enjoy a wonderful breakfast and the morale and camaraderie. There's the finish line. Here is your champion of Zwift Racing League, Week 4. Bandini not so far back, huh, Nathan? The Italian
good little kick. Peterson not gonna get it there, but solid little effort. We're going to jump in with the women. They are just about to get on course. We've got both just barely going to be able to pull in for both of the both of the divisions at this point. We're going to go with Division 1 and Division 2 on the women's side of things. We are in with a DZR rider, though, 36th place. We'll ride in with these boys until we do get those images up on course, up on screen here.
So you said it was EMEA Women W1 Division 1, correct?
W1 Division 1 just about to get out on course. W1 right. Division 2 is also going to be on course just.
This is the Socks for Watts group that we have talked about. Jane Despis and company. Let's see here. This is Yeomans of the CDRC and the C group that we're looking at. So finishing up. Tough day out here. I think a lot of folks will. I was seeing like Alice Lethbridge, Nathan, a few riders that we genuinely appreciate, respect, talking about it being the hardest week that that they've seen so far in ZRL. I think that not quite unanimous. Everyone's got their own story, but certainly a quorum of riders saying that. First time the word quorum has ever been used in the broadcast, as we give a chance to jump in with the women here.
Yeah, apologies.
Looks like these are riders that missed their start. Yep.
Now we're back in with it. So
probably directors hanging out. I'll be honest, you scared me a little bit.
How did I? Didn't think we were going to get it? Didn't think we were going to get it there, Dave?
Well, the black screen for a moment. Screen? I thought, oh, did
everything went black. I'm no longer with Nathan. Yeah.
I saw a really funny joke with everything going plaid the other day when Christina Grossman fell out of her trainer. Her bike fell out of her
Christina
trainer.
Actually, so I was a part of some of the messages there, and Christina was like, that's a real thing in Zwift that we actually go plaid. I was like, I don't think that's actually a real thing.
I don't think it is.
I think you're seeing plaid. You may be seeing plaid, Christina, when you're sprinting. And
that is not a
you
real
are
thing.
Becoming Spaceball 1. And then I found out she had never seen Spaceballs. And I was like, oh man, like we need to remedy the situation.
There you go. Yeah. We've got some big names out here. I see Leah Thorvaldsen, Helen McKay joining us for Turbo. Few riders. Emmy Koling, Nathan, of the Turbo squad.
That is a name.
Absolutely. It stands out as someone who's really made her mark in the sport over the last, for me, I'll be honest, it's this season that I've really noticed Emmy.
Yeah, she's a good pickup for Turbo. It was on the Innsbruck climb that she really was able to show what she's got as a climber in amongst the crowd here. And I think that was part of the pickup. There was just needing to get somebody who could throw down that steady threshold, high watts per kilogram, and challenge some of these top riders here. So good pickup there of the Italian rider. We'll see how it ends up playing out today. Is it more of a punchy course suit her, or is she more set it at a high threshold, and that is what is going to win out on the day for her? So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for Colleen, if she's more of a rider that just likes that steady effort, or if the punching is going to favor her at all.
Francesca Hall, Nathan, is another rider that stands out to me. Rider to watch, if you will, as we have a chance now. Huge group. Love this race. This is another one of the examples, boy. And
right from the get-go, they're not even messing around at all. I was expecting this to be more of a sit-in and watch, but Zisam with Kelly Koling as well from Turbo, we were just talking about, right to the front, making it very difficult, and already starting to have some splits to the back. They need to be attentive. Coming over the top of this climb, 5%, 3%, it goes back and forth a little bit. If you're not with this group, it flies at that 8% downhill grade. Absolutely avalanches down the hill with speed, and you are done at that point immediately. Your race can be over in the first 3K.
Isn't it like being on a roller coaster, Nathan, when it picks up speed, right? It's just like the crack of a whip. Hey, for folks joining us, I totally understand that you might not have seen our previous reset. So this is our women's race that we're joining in the very early going. You can see up top there, they're just 2K in. 28 kilometers of racing. That's 2 laps out here on the 2019 UCI World Championship course. This is Harrogate that we're in right now in Yorkshire, right in the middle part of England. About a 4-hour train ride if you don't miss a train in the middle of your journey from London to Harrogate. Well known as a spa town, Nathan. Bottled water. If you buy bottled water in the United Kingdom, Harrogate, the brand, is the most popular that you see everywhere, named after this town that has it's just beautiful. All the wonderful things you think of heritage and legacy with England all exist right here in Harrogate. But not much fun for our riders because this is a sufferfest out here. One of the hardest courses, we've talked about that as well. It's not the longest climb by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the repetitive nature of these very steep climbs, body blow after body blow being thrown at you.
Apologies, we lost images there for just a moment. We'll jump in with the West 2. See if we can get back our images there.
It's a new feature that we have. You can make sure your screen is clean.
Just go to black. Yeah, we just go.
Yeah.
See if we can jump back in with the West 1 ladies here in just a second. But we are in with the West 2 team Rave. This is a new team that's on the scene. Absolutely making a splash. Betty Squad is here as well as Roca Cobra. Loving the Betty
That
Squad
doesn't
racing.
Well, and don't we love their kit as well? There it is, just right in the middle of your screen. Possibly, you know what? Anna Russell, bring it on. I say that's the best kit in game right now. Betty Squad.
Let's see if we can get a good look at it here with the Betty Squad.
Will you pass that on to Anna Russell, as, the fashionista police?
I think
Jane
they agree
Fonda,
with you.
they call her.
I think they actually agree.
They probably
with
would
you on
agree.
that one.
Yeah.
I think that's been said as well. Look here, this is going to be the Betty
There it
Squad,
is.
and look at pretty well done here as well as far as all of the
Nice
accessories. Yeah, I mean we've got the black gloves. I mean going right alongside with the pirates, theme a little bit here. Lots of multicolor, a little bit of purple accents. I think
It kind of
this
says
is
like,
really well
"Don't
done.
mess with us." That pirate says, "Don't mess with
It's,
us," right?
it's punky. Don't mess with us. It's still fun though too. You don't have
But
like
we're
this
cool.
just straight up.
Like, don't mess with us, but we're cool.
Yeah, if you're in with us, it doesn't feel like we're just getting beat up and amongst the team either. So
Right. We got your back. Yeah. So, anyways, having some fun with it right now. We can have fun, but it doesn't look fun to be back in the middle part of this group because little splits opening up. Those little splits turn into new groups pretty quickly here. You watch a grass fire turn into a structure fire, as we say. Only takes about 30 seconds. You can either close that gap down. See that gap right there? Too many times doing that is not fun. Eventually, you run out of matches in your book. So, Nathan, just so I'm clear here, we're going to be jumping between two different women's races in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Now, they're both A's. They're both so because of the volume of racers, we've split them into two groups. Is that correct? Fair to say?
correct, 100% correct.
Yep. So that's a good example. Now, with the men, we have to continue splitting them up. With the women, it's what you've got right in front of you here, Whoops of the Rave team. As there's a good example, the two races going on now, Whoops and Leah Thorbalson there of the Turbo.
Presented by Hobnobs. If you don't know
That's
what's going on,
funny.
there's a current competition happening about what is the best cookies in the world for recovery, and Thorvalson doing live
So it's
Instagram
for
competitions.
recovery?
Well, I don't know.
So it's not just
it looked like it was for
Okay,
recovery to
okay.
me.
Right.
It looked like. Well, I don't know.
I don't
like
need a recovery cookie. I just want a cookie. Yeah.
like she eats them after riding. So in my head as a racer,
they
I'm
play the
eating sugar
role.
like that because I need to
Yes,
recover. Like that's what's in my head. So no, it's not Hobnobs for recovery. This is their new Hobnob. Oh my
I am concerned, Nathan. I know that so because of it's been great and continues.
Hobnobs are concerning you? Wait a second.
No, V Win is concerning me with her diet when she's racing. Just the slamming the Diet Cokes, and that's the difference. Yeah. You want to stay that lightweight, and fast. You don't mess around drinking lemonade like me. That's for sure. So Leah Thorvalson, again, is one of the best ambassadors that Zwift has ever had. That happens organically. She was part of the Zwift Academy, was a worthy winner, Nathan, of the first one, and then really set the standard, right, of, I don't know, the stewardship or the honor of being a Zwift, winning in the Academy. It wasn't lost on her, that's for sure. See, son, the world-famous red shorts, black top, white in the middle. This is a great team. Many incarnations.
Yeah, Colleen,
They
did you
see
see
our
her sitting
cryo
there?
friends.
BRT with the
Crowdgen had a
meals?
great day yesterday.
Crowdgen had an
Nathan.
amazing day yesterday, and
for them.
unsung heroes in some sort of ways. And I think a lot of times under the radar, and they continue to prove that there's no reason for that whatsoever, showing that they've got all of the medal at the front end of the race.
I completely agree. It's a great example of they don't really blow their own horn. They're a very classy team, I would say. Not that other teams aren't classy, but the way CrowdGen does it is they don't tell you how great they are. They're going to go out and race, show you. I love that. Cryogen Nation, congratulations. Super happy for you. You're right, though, Nathan. I think that they've been underappreciated, maybe undervalued, but not by me or you. That's for sure. Cassie Baldy, right there. Socks for Watts, another in-game kit that's not only looks great, but they worked hard to get it there. So nice job, ladies. Always the Socks for Watts will be part of the conversation. Guarantee you that, Nathan. This team, they don't miss the front group. That's for sure.
About to hit that Queen of the Mountain here in just a moment. Turbo trying to set up for this, and this is where that story is going to be told, whether or not Colleen has the same kind of climbing lanes when the punch goes up. I think as far as talking about who's going to make this group, Aeonian, Beast Mode are here. It does look like Crowd Stelvio. Soxwats have the Aero Unicorns hammering away here. Collins also. Draft is a team that we haven't talked about a whole lot. Watch out for Draft. They with Hall is here.
Well
we got
positioned
Sveen here. Lots of red jerseys actually with Draft. So we'll see if they're able to make this break. Gamps immediately goes to the front. One of the most aggressive riders last week was Louise Gamps. BRT, the Danish rider, right to the front. Colleen knows exactly where to be, and that's right on Gamps' wheel. This is a familiar place that she had last week, and almost playing
Here
out.
we go.
Oh, but now over the top, 7.5, 8 watts per kilogram. The Italian saying, no, I'm not just a threshold climber. I can punch with the best.
Yeah, and well, here we go. Talk about separating the cream from the top here. This is going to be interesting points available.
Almost there, Dave.
Yeah,
the wheat from the chaff, but it's the cream of the crop. There we go.
Right, exactly. Francesca Hall, Nathan, we talked about earlier, the draft rider, much like Crowdgen, a team I think that's been underappreciated. Here they are up in the mix, but Louise Gamps is a machine, absolute machine. But, well, these are the names that you expect to see for the finale of the race. They're already making a big play here. This is a very important moment in the race, Nathan. If these riders maybe add a couple more, you might have the right ingredients for a breakaway that would stay away. I think this causes a massive split out here. This next 30 seconds is going to define the rest of the race.
Yeah, I mean, look behind here, whether or not these riders behind end up looking at each other. See, and this is the thing. If you get together and you kind of, there's this unsaid agreement that can happen amongst riders on a climb like this, where they're like, we know if we all just ride together here, we will bring that back. So you almost start backing off the pedals to not create a split, because you know you might just get caught by the pack that has that unsaid agreement. You know, and Colleen here at this point, she's going to go for some points and grab them, but look at behind. There's a regrouping happening that shuts it down. Now, if they would have continued to string that out, really stretch the accordion, try and get that elastic to snap a little bit more, then we may have seen a little bit more of something happen. It could still happen as I'm looking here. There's the points there. Haig coming on through. Draft, actually, with Hall. Then Beast Mode, 3rd, 4th. Bruni there, 5th. Now, Thorvaldsen, this may still end up happening here because it did not regroup as much as I thought because of that last kick to the line. Rebo here, this can happen for sure.
And really, when you watch that 3-4 second gap, goes out exponentially if you miss the train when it's leaving the station. What was a small mistake turns into a massive problem, and Emmy don't care. She's like the honey badger here. She's going to continue on like a monster, throwing up 5 watts per kilo here, a human wattage cottage on the front. Now, what really is going to be interesting is exactly what Nathan was speaking to. Do they regroup and chase her back as a collective unit, or does it turn into every woman, every team for themselves out here? And I think it's going to be the latter, Nathan. This is a huge move, a third of the way into the race. This one has blown to bits. The Italian is tremendously dangerous here in this situation.
2 seconds up. No super tucks, and she's going to really be tired now after the riders behind were able to super tuck a lot through these last sections here. So they do have enough riders here to bring this back. Thorvaldsen's sitting in, though. She's going to just be able to get the advantage of Beast Mode doing some work.
But this is the break, though. This is the split, this group right here. I'm fully expecting her to be joined, but this group is not going to be joined by anyone. Now, they've left a good 20 riders behind.
Yeah, it does look like this is going to stick. Cassie Baldy here caught out. Interesting to see. Beast Mode there with Freibel, and then it's going to be Corollas. Yeah, definitely some big names caught out, but there's just not enough riders behind, I think, to really bring this back. But they will still be motivated to grab a whole lot of points. The question is whether or not these riders are motivated to continue on. It does look like Leo Thorvaldsen is very motivated. They do not want Beast Mode to come back and be involved. And also, There's a reality of
Well,
trying to break some of the beast mode riders with not more of their teammates able to chase anything. This is extremely important to continue on at this point.
yeah, exactly what I'm talking about now. So Beast Mode is a team made up with a lot of triathletes. They've got a lot of experience there. But in a bike racing world, Nathan, almost every point has gone up the road right now in this front group. So if you stay away in this split, there's so much value to that because you're going to get just time and time again, you're going to be collecting all of the bonus points. So Emmy is on fire right now. So the Italian rider here, she's the one that lit the fuse here. Right behind her, you can see that gap hovering at around 2 seconds. What's more important is the gap back to the 10-second for Chase 2 at this point. As I'm Emmy's director, I'm going to tell her to ease up a bit here and just rejoin this group and start working with them. But she's going to make sure she gets the points first. She's going to get them.
Thorvaldsen and her get them both. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome to see. Perfect timing by Clean. And then Thorvaldsen comes over the top right alongside of her. What teamwork there. What timing.
And that's
coming
19
from Emmy
points.
And Thorvaldsen. Yeah, that's
That's
huge.
19 points. So, I mean, 19 points is the equivalent of about a 10th place finish in the race already. Huge play here.
Look at this.
Okay.
Right to the line. I thought perhaps.
So teammates now, the rider making the catch, Leah Thorvaldsen. Emmy is either way. They're definitely I should say. The back end
Hall,
API don't lie.
Draft, Wagner, Gamst all have to settle for lesser points there. What a ride there by Team Turbo. Turbo, I'm loving this, that Turbo are back on the scene. They are here to make a statement, and this pickup with Emmy has really lit a fuse, I think, amongst that team as well. Maybe a little extra motivation here from Leah with somebody to ride with at the front end of the races. Having a lot of fun, it looks like here. Nothing but hobnobs fueling this one, that's for sure.
So many of these teams are just that one rider away from being in contention to win in this community league, right? Emmy, the perfect example of that. They had the foundation with Leah Thorvaldsen, amongst other riders, but Emmy was just what they needed. So here you go. So I expected that this group, so I'll make that prediction that this group stays away, and the gap is slightly going out right now to 11 seconds here. This is the winner is on your screen right now in my mind, no doubt. Francesca Hall very well could be that rider for draft today. She's fantastic talent.
Interesting to see how Turbo continue to press the pace here. They want to break beast mode. That is the goal here, I think, at this point, because behind in this chase group, we've got Aeonian trying to come on terms. Z-Sense trying to come on terms as well. Beast mode has riders in here that if they did get involved, they'd be able to chase anything down. It's kind of a now or never moment for Turbo because there's no teammates behind here either, right? There's nobody that's going to help them out here. There's another pack coming on. This is really a crucial moment. And because of this, now look at the back of this pack. We've got one Turbo rider, Helen McKay, in here currently. And McKay has the green jersey. Do you know what that means there, Dave? That means not only are they looking to get the points, McKay is sitting in and looking to get fastest segment times, as she is an amazing sprinter as well. So she may not have made the break, but she can sit in amongst some of these faster riders and still gain points with fastest segments.
And that green jersey signifies that she's already done that.
She's got the fastest time right now, currently on course.
Right now, right,
with
exactly.
That, yeah,
so,
with that. So
right.
This is Turbo's got a perfect situation.
She's hunting,
if they continue on at this point, though, they have to stay away.
She's hunting in a different forest, if you will, than the other riders on her team, which is tactically astute, right? Using everybody to the best of their abilities. That's Francesca Hall moving up to the front, going over the top of Leah Thorvaldsen here. Is they going to look at the finish, what will be the finishing sprint one lap from now? But it looks
Beast
like
Mode
Hall
want this to come back
go
together. I think that's what this is here, Dave. They really want this to come back together. I think they want their other two teammates to come back because they have more to work with. I think they've recognized that perhaps Turbo is very strong because, look, they go to the front. They don't pull 4. They pull 3. Thorvaldsen and the rest are like, no, 4, 5 watts per kilogram. We need to continue on here at this point. Now it shuts it down a little bit, 13-second gap. This could come back on the 3% right-hand turner here because that back group, they've got a lot more bodies in there, and behind them there's a lot more bodies. It could snowball avalanche out of control so quickly on that fast downhill. Colleen and Thorvaldsen, they have to continue this pace.
Yeah, I'm going to respectfully disagree. I don't see this coming back together, to tell you the truth, but that's why we make them race the final lap, right?
Yeah, I think I don't see it coming back together if they continue to press the pace. They could start looking at each other, though, at the front here. They start looking at each other at 3 watts per kilogram, but Colleen's motivated. She's going to continue on. What I'm saying is Turbo have to take this race, though. They have to continue on with the push because Beast Mode, I think they're not super interested.
No, right, but they are, is the thing. That you just see them continuing to take turns on the front. That's the difference. That gap has gone out to 15 seconds now. So they've added a few more seconds. It's not coming back.
Yeah, it does look like Beast Mode. They may be motivated to keep this 4.2. Interesting enough to see. So
well, they're motivated right now. It's absolutely. I mean, if you're Beast Mode, you let others finish what's on their plate before you start on yours. And so if Turbo wants to do this work, you don't stop them from doing it.
Yeah, maybe there's not enough riders here in Turbo, the second group, to really make something happen if they came forward there. Plus, get another draft rider, Aeonian, Z-Sun gets involved then, so perhaps
they don't have the horsepower. Yeah, I mean, this is a very strong group here. And I mean, Gamst is another rider that she'll swap out and take some pulls here too. This is your winning group, in my mind. But again, that's why, I mean, if they start to look at each other, but with this mix, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, my concern there was whether or not Beast Mode wanted it to stay away. And
well, whether you want to or not, you don't.
There's no way Turbo and Gamst alone were if they got unmotivated, and that group behind could have caught them for sure.
Francesca Hall too.
Yeah, I mean, so
it's going out to almost 20 seconds now. This conversation becomes almost a moot point pretty soon because
we'll see on the downhill here. We'll see.
Right.
Colleen, though, she continues on at 5 watts per kilogram here. Solid effort, and this is going to most likely be the nail in the coffin for any kind of a chase, though, because of this continue on 5 watts per kilogram. Colleen is showing she is motivated as can be today, and Turbo are on point here. They're really the ones that are making this happen.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is their move. Absolutely. They're the ones that set this up. And the big beneficiary now. So it's always important to remember that this is a team sport, team points. So even if you have the rider who wins, and there's always going to be the endorphin rush that comes with winning outright, but how your teammates do is going to how the points are distributed is how we keep score out here. So Beast Mode, with riders positioned in this front group, you need to look again that we're into the 4th race of the season right now. So we're starting to establish the top of our leaderboard here, and there's no doubt that Turbo, Bolt, Beast Mode, these are the teams that have shown to themselves to be at a level above.
Looking at the standings currently in this, it looks like Beast Mode have really put a stamp on this one, that's for sure. My question on that is, our Sox for Watts, I don't think have shown up with a Sox. Watt TF might not even be here today. That's I'm wondering, where is Watt TF?
I saw Cassie Baldy. Cassie Baldy was been in that second group there. You're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
that might be about it today, because no Rachel Elliott that I'm seeing here. Interesting enough to see.
Yesterday.
This is the current standings. Beast Mode, Sox for Watts, Watt TF, Turbo here with 53.
BRT that's going to change in a major way.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Turbo will leapfrog over Sox for Watts. BRT. There's going to be some changes here. Not Project Beast Mode per se. They're in great shape to hold on, but 57 points. You can see that it's basically 4 teams tied for all intents and purposes with Sox for Watts, Turbo, BRT, and Aeonian there. A little bit of a gap down to CryoGen Stelvio, but they're going to be looking to move up as well. Back in with the front group as they're working their way through lap number 2 out here in Harrogate.
Despas is in here, a rider from Sox Watts as well. So I do see Sox Watts. WTF is involved here. Aaron Unicorns is here. So there's a lot of Sox Watts jerseys, but I'm not seeing that top team in its full. I don't think they've showed up in full effect here at this point. This chase group, it has
This is the
come together.
formerly the two groups. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no,
So
it has come
this
together.
big
They did
group,
drop a few more though, so it's kind of struggling. It is really struggling to find any cohesion. That's for sure. 20 seconds up. They've got a good gap. They can start looking at each other a little bit with that kind of a gap. 3.4 on the front here. Nobody's going to want to do a whole lot of work through the pasture, I would think, as it doesn't. It's just going to be consistent tempo. I think. See, as you can see, Thorvaldsen coming to the front. 4.2. Now Thorvaldsen with the 199 beats per minute. This is what I'm talking about. The motivation to keep this away. That heart rate tells me they are working very hard to make sure that chase group does not come on. They can't just be looking at each other with the reality of how many riders are in the snowball effect on a 17% gradient downhill, snowball effect on an 8%. That group is going to be traveling so much faster than this group on those downhills. They've really got to work to make sure that these flats and any kind of climbing sections make it happen. But when they hit the Queen of the Mountain again, even if they come back, well, it'll be interesting. The match is burned to cold. I mean, this is an all-in type situation. It really is. You've got your chips on the table. You got to go to the river now.
well, experience would tell me, Nathan, that Beast Mode is absolutely loving this situation. See, they're starting to come through now because Turbo's done so much work here that, and if the gap's hovering at 20, you want to just add a little bit of insurance to make sure that you stay away. But Beast Mode right now has, if you look at their Zwift efficiency, have done a tremendous job of being in the front group, but not doing the most work. So extremely well done by this group of triathletes. As a matter of fact, it's just cover and kill from them right now. So, I mean, if I had to handicap this race, I certainly expect to see an orange jersey winning today. But this is how you do it. Nice job here as Turbo is going to continue to turn the screws. Leah Thorvaldsen is attacking. So they are absolutely refusing to lie down and let Beast Mode have their way as Thorvaldsen's going to make things rough here as we go inside of 10K to go. Coming up actually on 9K of racing here. Leah Thorvaldsen hitting out.
Yeah, Thorvaldsen now 3.6 watts per kilogram, trying to keep things away. Gamp's now looking to maybe see they're not interested to chase that down. I think Thorvaldsen just wanted to bring the speed up a little bit here at this point. This isn't actually to stay away, I don't think. I think she's seeing that it brought under 20 seconds with that chase group.
This is to help her teammate. What she's doing is setting up for Emmy to attack later. So she's trying to put pressure onto Beast Mode. And then after another K and a half of this, expect Emmy Koling to attack.
Beast Mode now 8.3 watts per kilogram, looking to get that speed up nice and high. No, it looks like Thorvaldsen going to be caught. And 64 kilometers per hour, we can see the chase group 87, 91 kilometers per hour. And now it's down to 15 seconds. Any kind of punches from here might continue on with a whole lot of speed coming on through. And now the pressure on from Colleen. And because of this 4% gradient, this is the opportunity now to extend again. Don't have to worry about too much of that time coming back as long as they keep on the gas at these times that it matters the most. Colleen now back to the front. Again, Turbo completely dominating really making sure that all of the effort is being done that needs to be done to keep this away. Because if you look at the points right now, because of where the points are at, 19, 15 there, Francisco Hall getting right in the middle of that, though, is 17, which kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in things here because Colleen and Thorvaldsen, they want to extend their lead over Beast Mode because they have 3 riders here. They need to get as many points over the top as they can to try and win on the day because they can do it, but they got to win all of those sprints and KOMs in order to make it happen, I think, because Beast Mode just have too many in that top 10.
When you talk about the Machiavellian chess match that is esports racing, this is what I was talking about, trying to launch Koling off the front. This is a big moment here now. So Emmy has been fantastic, but Beast Mode has got the resources. Look at the orange jerseys now just all slotting in order to nail her back. They're not going to play around with the Italian rider at all. Turbo doing what they can, but they are going up against the absolute juggernaut that is the beast mode team. Again, these German triathletes have banded together. They've made a fantastic squad. Emmy's got a great rider sidekick out here, being Leah Thorvaldsen. But I think that as every pedal stroke ticks over, it gets better and better for beast mode now. There's going to be an absolute barrage for the finale coming up about 7K from now. So Turbo, who's given it everything they got, all the credit in the world to this team, is trying to crack beast mode. And again, every now and then you get two dogs fighting for a bone, that being Turbo and beast mode, and maybe a rider like Francesca Hall, who's quietly there in the red jersey. She's stayed in the wheels.
Her and Gamps just getting all the benefit here of just watching.
They're loving this, right?
Yeah.
They're watching, yeah. It's like the robot wars on, the two teams are just wailing on each other here. But these two riders have quietly just laid back. Let them fight.
14-second gap at this point. Anybody who sat in on this pack and watched what's played out here could close a 5-second, 10-second gap, like a launch out from that pack. I don't think that whole pack is coming back, but there could be a launch pad of speed from that pack behind. They're almost in sight. That's if I were in that pack, that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be sitting to sit, and then pounce as hard as I possibly could the second we hit this climb. But we'll see if anybody can. Haig now. Bruni, Gamps to the front.
You're trying to close a 14-second gap on a group of the 8 strongest women in the division. Good luck. Not easy.
Cassie Baldy is a name that's there. Despa's maybe. There's a couple of names that got caught out there, but there's a reason they got dropped in the first.
It's just a huge ask. Huge ask, no doubt. That's why we have the race. But this now, when you look at the 7% grade, the tempo here is still remarkably quick in our front group. There's a look, though. You can see that second group there in frame.
And that was what I was speaking about earlier, was the fact that these riders have had to work so hard to get where they are. So many matches burnt, whereas the riders behind have been able to rest so much more than them to get to this point and really capitalize on the climb.
So when a rider, if they are able to bring it down to, say, 5 seconds, that's where beast mode attacks out of this group.
100%. And it looks like they're doing just that, actually, as they head to the front. They see it drop below 6, 192 beats per minute. Bruni here, the German rider. Koling now as well, 6 at the front. Right back up, and they can see the threat, and they said, no, this ain't happening. Aeonian, though, they can smell it, and they want it, but it's just a little, look, just getting out of sight there. Oh, it's so difficult to watch. But, Matthew, I don't think it's going to be happening.
That's bike racing. Right, absolutely. It's very interesting, the different perspective of riding in the front group, and you're able to dictate and animate the race at your will, rather than the riders who are chasing, who are quite honestly groveling in the gutter, looking to catch a break. That's what they need, and you just don't catch many breaks in pro cycling. That's for sure. This is the front group now. That gap, it's going back up, and this is it. Now we're moving into the finale mode as they're at 5.2K to go. We might even see a little bit now. They're going to fight back now. So these are the 8 riders in our front group that have absolutely, or make it 7 riders, I apologize, in the front group here. Leah Thorvaldsen has been a workhorse out here. Francesca Hall, though, showing you, she's a danger woman, no doubt about it. The rider in red is going to pick up top points here, although so many points going to the other riders. Those bonus points will be distributed. There is another bonus sprint coming up before the finish here, but I think really what's noteworthy there, Nathan, is how strong Hall is, and she might have blown that group up.
He completely blew the group up. And, I think Colleen, so much work done early on. And now, off the back, the Italian rider, it was the secret weapon that has shown up. But now, because of all of that effort up front, I think really has laid it all out there. And now off the back, though. And so now, beast mode, they're going to capitalize on this. They do not want to see her coming back. And at 5 seconds, it's done. And it's going to be Gamps. It's going to be Turbo with Thorvaldsen, Gamps, BRT, Draft with Hall versus the rest of beast mode on the day.
That's the Tai Chi of bicycle racing. You use a rider against themselves as beast mode. Very savvy job by the whole team there. They let Emmy punch her own ticket. Beautiful racing. Eliminated their biggest danger woman outside of Francesca Hall at this, or Gamst for that matter. Both Hall and Gamst are, it's easy to imagine them going 1-2, but I shouldn't say easy. It's not impossible, but this is Beast Mode's race now. They've put all the pieces together. We're going to be into the finale very, very quickly here. This is Hog that we're with right now. 3 riders in this group. Normally, you'd say, how do you lose now? But this is a very challenging group to win out of when you look at how strong the Danish rider Gamst of BRT is. And without a doubt, Francesca Hall has already shown us over and over the quality of rider that she is.
And you do see after those points from Hall, 27, just updating Turbo there with 24 currently. EMEA, though, with 23. So still up toward the top. They're sitting on 47 points currently, but Beast Mode there with 2019, and then that 16 puts them already over the top in the top 10 currently. So Beast Mode showing up with enough ladies here to really dominate the preems, and I think they're going to be taking this down just off of that. And also with the riders up front here, they're going to be in the top 5 no matter what it looks like.
Emmy needs to hold off that group behind her to collect the 7th place points there, because she doesn't want to get caught by the group behind her. All of a sudden, a bunch of points get tossed out the window. So
there's
she's
still
right
points on the line from
land.
that team, right? From that group, right? So they're going to be sprinting in just a moment, and that's going to cause some mayhem for her.
So yeah, so she's kind of right in the middle of the crossfire out there now here in Yorkshire. That's Gamst that we're with now. So yeah, best defense is a good offense, I would say. As there's points now, Gamst is going to grab them, as we'll go take a look at the back end API and see how that scores. But 10 points for the first over the line, significant points, and that's their last sprint. So Emmy's going to hold on and at least collect the bonus points there. And I would imagine that she's been able to redouble her efforts. You can see how close they are behind her, because this is now the final points distributed there.
Yep, that's it, right through 10th place there. That's your top 10. Baldy behind now, Sox Watts. Are they going to catch Colleen is going to be the question.
The intensity, though, now
10
all
seconds,
in that front group,
there's
isn't
be
it?
A full battle coming in here with the 3% Hound Hill gradient. So I think Colleen's going to really have her work cut out for her.
I think she'll do it, the quality of rider that she is, but it's going to be very, very close at the line as to whether she gets caught and loses the huge benefit of being in 7th place out here. This is your front 6 now. There's no doubt that the winner of this race is going to be, and it certainly looks like it's Beast Mode's day, as they are the team on top of the table, and they should continue to be. But certainly Turbo has made a statement out here today with the way that they've ridden, and they still have one rider. That's going to be Leah Thorvaldsen, although Leah's done a tremendous amount of work. That's going to be Louise Gamst that we're looking at, the Danish rider here, who's one of the big threats. I mean, everybody in this group is a threat to win, to tell you the truth. This one is really, really hard to handicap, but I think I have to go. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Francesca Hall is the woman to beat here, the rider in red for draft.
I think you're right. She so far has shown that she's been very cagey rider. She's been very smart. She's been reserving her energy. I wouldn't be surprised if we had this Zwift power. We'd see some very low watts per kilogram on her overall average at this point. I think some of the beast mode riders have been a little bit more aggressive at times, while Hall, as you were saying, dogs for the bone. They've been battling, beating each other up, and next thing you know, Hall's going to come out of nowhere and snatch it at the end here, perhaps. Now, Gamps, though, is another rider to watch out for who may have a kick, but she's been doing a little bit more work, I think. Hall seems on the back end of this race to have a little bit more snap in her step here from what we've seen.
Yeah, that a good way to put it, Nathan. That snap, and that snap is going to come at about 100 meters to go. It's quite a trip to get there when you make that hard right-hand turn that really begins the end of this race. I like it. It's going to be Bruni of Beast Mode. This is how you do it.
This is a good move.
Out early. Nice job here. Absolutely. With 2 teammates now sitting in that group, you can force the other teams to chase, put the pressure on them, and it looks like it's going to be Thorvaldsen is the first one to take the bait, but sitting very well positioned there. Now, again, this is a very small group. There's not a lot of draft, and here we go. We're locked and loaded for the final time. Right here, right now, it is on, Nathan. And Beast Mode throwing everything at it here.
Yeah, a little bit early though. Haig there goes. Now Fade though for a second says no. That was actually a
Francesca
bait.
Hall.
She baited a little bit there. The Beast Mode ladies made Thorvaldsen go to the front. Now Hall's now on the front. That's not where they want to be at this point. Now up and over the top with some speed, but that's not as much speed as they need as Hall now sits on the wheel. It's back and forth over and over again. Ryder's not wanting to be in the front. She's on the front here. Is Hall going to be able to lead this out and take it down? She's only got a feather. Wagner sitting in. Is she going to have enough draft is going to be the question. Hall with one final kick, 10 watts per kilogram. An arrow power up might be able to pull it off for Wagner. Here comes Leo Thorvaldsen. Thorvaldsen with an arrow. Is Hall going to hold on? Thorvaldsen's coming on through. She's got 10 watts per kilogram, but no. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Beast Mode right at the line. That was too close to call.
Wagner. So we will go to the back end API on that one, folks. There is no way. To be honest, you'd have to be guessing if you're calling that one. What that was finish out here.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. That was so close. So close. Here comes Hall.
Hall might have won.
She may have right to the line here.
So,
oh, my gosh. I can't tell. I mean, that's so close. It's so close.
And what we learned through time is that the back end API might tell a story that's a little bit different than what you're seeing there. Because if that were the case, you got to give it to Wagner.
I think so. I think Wagner. I think the line is a little bit ahead there. We'll have to wait and see. It really comes down to, as you said, the back end API. So.
What a race. What a race. We're all winners for that one. Fantastic job. As certainly a hard woman's race out there today. We're going to go back in and join Webb right now, South African rider with about less than half a K to go.
This is West 2 and Webb on the breakaway situation here. Gornell not going to be able to hang on. Apologies, we weren't able to catch what happened. I'm assuming this happened all in the Queen of the Mountain climb. Gornell trying to come across 7 watts per kilogram, not going to be happening. So Webb, the South African, is going to be taking this down. The Rave team there sitting in, waiting for a pounce perhaps, but Gornell continues on to put the attrition into the legs. But Webb is going to take this down. Gornell is going to battle it out with, it looks like, Woobs there. Or that's going to be able to happen, though, and it's going to be Osterby there. And then Otto from Roca Cobra.
Wow.
For Forest. So that's the situation in the West, too. Beast Mode's also involved here, too. They're everywhere. Beast Mode is everywhere.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere, didn't they? And organized, effective, and certainly fun to have in the mix. Turbo gets a lot of credit for some great racing today, and Draft getting their rider Francesca Hall up in the mix. Louise Gamst, outstanding job. It's great racing here from the women out of Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Loving it.
So we're going to see if we can jump on in with the men here. We do have the men's racing out, of course, with the West.
Martin mentioning 9,000 racers involved in the ZRL last week. 9,000. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Good job to each and every one of you. Why is Cooper going the other way? Here, flipped it.
Squad still making their way to the finish line here. We're going to jump in with them for a second while we look to find our men's race. They're about to head on over for the West. They're about to head on over into the King of the Mountain here in just a second. We'll see if we can find them out on course and then bring in the images here. But it does look like Betty Squad here. They're going to be making their way through for the top 20. There's a sprint here up ahead, most likely happening with Barry and Thompson now in the West 2 for the winner. This is still for the top 30, and there's plenty of points still on the line.
Yeah, noteworthy that the spots outside of the top 10 often decide who the top team is. So these riders clearly make a huge difference in the ultimate outcome. They're about a couple hundred meters from the finish, although they're further away than that when I look at this. Or no, they're right there, actually. They'll hit the finish line in a second.
Thompson, there it is. Barry, and Betty Squad making their way to the line. Now, the men have jumped onto the King of the Mountain, and we are in with them with the West 1 Go ahead and jump right on in here. It's going to be Gorman there, and then it's going to be Espresso Twitch D Lines with Gaja. Good to see Gaja out on course.
Andy
Hammering away
Gajda.
here. This is going to be the man with Strachan right on his wheel.
Okay, so shifting over to the west now, and Nathan, for those following along, this is going to be the men's mixed. Are we in with division E2? Excuse me, it's west, isn't it? Working past the women's now. So this is going to be, Nathan, division 1, 2, 3, or 4?
This is division 4 for the West 1. West 1, division 4 is what we're looking at right now with Gaja, Horden, Gorman, Bartley, Sammy B, Strachan now battling out at the front. Hamlin, it looks like. Lines, Peterson trying to come across. D. Charles from draft. R. Davies is there as well with G. Reaper. Super solid efforts here coming from these riders right now. We're going to see lots of draft and power-ups. Gaja there with an arrow very early. I think he's just trying to hold on is the reason why.
Yeah, the 3 different power-ups in Zwift Racing League that you see riders receiving: the feather, the draft, and the arrow.
Lines taking that down. It looks like Strachan just barely nipping it there from Latimer, and then it's going to be Horden there. Gorman coming on through. McDonald is still involved, and Andrew Gaja.
That was all the points right there as well, just in one fell swoop.
Yeah, with the top 10. Daniel trying to get on turns, but not going to grab one. 0 watts. Now it's just done. Looking for a arrow tug. It is not happening. Peterson off the back. Daniel, really, that 0 watts is not how he's got to punch hard right here. I mean,
how do you describe that feeling when you go for the arrow tuck and you get denied? Right? It's like going for a
scream
dunk
at the
and
screen.
Getting blocked.
You literally just scream at the screen.
Well, and there goes another couple seconds while you ham-fisted that one, right? Because now you've spent more time not making watts to make the chase back even harder. So that's racing.
Let's go ahead and jump in and see if we can find the men's standings here.
I bet you're super. You're conservative, Nathan. When you go into a super tuck, you're 100% sure you're going to get the tuck.
Oh, it better be happening. It better be happening.
Yeah.
You ever seen it? You ever want to watch a little bit of rage on the bike there? I mean. So once in a while, Nathan's live stream turns into that. What was that meme of the guy who was like smashing his bike at the finish line? Like that sometimes can turn into the live streams when things are not working the way that I think they ought to. That's for sure. So now a little bit of a gap here. I thought this was going to stay together, but Gaja and a few others. There's a kick on the front. Espresso is getting aggressive.
Very different, though, than what we saw with the women's race. 100% I expect these to come back together. So every race is different, right? And this will weld back together, making one group 2, or 2 groups 1, excuse me. Exact opposite of what I'm saying. And then there's another group right behind here that also will join. You can see they're just off your screen. But we're pretty early in the race right now, 28K. This will all come back together.
Looking back a little bit here, some effort being put in. Sammy B, Peterson. What kind of splits are happening? It looks like this is still the top 10, so all the points are on the line right here. Laybourne does not want to get shot out the back still here. I think these boys behind are suffering. D Lines has 19 watts per kilogram to give, it looks like, but no, Hamlet's got the better kick, it looks like, or at least the timing. And Espresso, take it down. This is the top team. I'm unfamiliar with this team, to be honest. It's a team that is just picking up on. Yeah, we're just picking up on here. And this is interesting to see, though, because they are dominating here.
Well,
D-Lines. And
we're going to learn.
Strachan, I do know the name Strachan, so that is a name to watch out for. Look through here. Horden is a name that's a little bit familiar to me as well. So McDonald from Espresso. So the names are familiar, but this team is a new one to me.
Yeah, we are learning a lot about new teams and riders as we make our way through this is the 4th week in a row that we've been covering divisions that we haven't seen before. So it's been a lot of fun, no doubt about it. And but this is going to be a steep learning curve for us out here today with this group. Espresso with 59 points. You can see how close it is. Again, into the fourth race of season 2 for the ZRL now. Swedish Zwifters Magni team right there, 58 points. And then you can see there's a bit of a chasm between Team LGPCIM2, and we'll just go with Team L for now. Kenilworth Wheelers in fourth, and they're only 1 point ahead of two teams, 6 a.m. Racing and R3R Wasp. So that's a look at where we're at into the fourth race right now.
Now, the Espresso team, they've really taken the reality of this course and the places that on this course you can get the most out of it. And I said a little bit earlier during the East divisions that 2% uphill gradient into that sprint is a section of course where you can really put the chasers or even anybody who's struggling at that point into the hurt locker. You can really make sure that they are going to suffer and have to do everything they can to hold on or even create a split. They are bringing it back to 4 seconds at this point, a little bit motivated. It can be difficult if you don't fully commit. And now you can see 3.5, 3.8. They said, okay, we've done the damage. We've got our points, maybe is what was on their mind. They didn't want anybody coming back for those sprints. And Espresso just making sure that they are capitalizing on every section that matters for those points right here. Really playing their teamwork well. All black with the yellow, it looks like. Black and yellow. That looks like it's on purpose, actually. Liking the team kit situation here. One or two of them maybe not getting the memo, though. I'm going to take a look at McDonald here. And he's on the S-Works. And this looks like because no Tron bike type of situation. I've heard a lot of chatter about top-end, very experienced racers not using the Tron bike anymore. Getting away from the Tron bike specifically because the wheel sets matter so incredibly much. Going to bring this back together, right? Looks like. C small. Yeah, me and Anna were having quite a conversation. We're going to see if we can run some tests, see what's happening. We think it has more to do with draft algorithms alongside of the CDA that's in the game, that there's a little bit more math going on maybe with drafting and whether or not you have wheels on compared to the Tron bike. This is all based on feeling. It's not objective at this point. There's been no actual science. It's based on people's reporting and what they think is happening. Strachan with the counter, though. Interesting to see. It's a large group. He's going to have to get quite the gap. I'm saying 15 to 20 plus if he wants to make this stick on this climb, because that downhill is just too much for a group like that.
Yeah, this was absolutely more of a setup than for the final here. As you could see, those two groups were merging right behind as Strachan just off of the front.
You'd have to get like just a group to come across. You'd have to get some people to say, I want to go. And look, looks like Laybourne saying, okay, maybe an arrow power up. That's 5-1 though. Not really just going to bring it back together and shut it down, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to move into the second lap for the men's West out here. Pretty big group together right now. They get a nice look at what it's the reconnoitering the finish line.
Out of sight, out of mind maybe. Do not see the riders ahead just yet. 14 seconds. Look behind. Just barely too far to really see them at this point. Emo, R3R Dev, it looks like here on the back. 181. Always good to see development riders in amongst these. Charles here from Draft. Looks like Espresso. Dano, Sammy B from the 6 a.m. team. And they're currently in 5th place overall. Let's see if we can get some teams showing up.
I don't know if as a recruiting tool, I don't know that calling yourself the 6 a.m. team is going to get
That's the team I want to be on.
Yeah,
6 a.m. You guys want to race? Let's go. 6 a.m.
It's like the only thing worse is the 5:30 a.m. team. I want nothing to do with those guys. Draft back, that familiar red kit, as we see Charles here. Although I don't think he has the kit, does he?
I used to wait. This guy's been around a long time because the La Fuega team was this was the original kit that Draft used before they got a kit in game. So he's just saying he's old school. He's just letting us know that he's from the.
It's like the guy who shows up with the old Fausto Coppi Bianchi wool jersey on your group ride, right? He's just showing you he's a legacy rider. He didn't just start the sport.
This guy's legacy as it gets.
He's been around. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the glasses. He's even got a stash, and it's gray. It's gray stash, red gloves.
Is he level 50? I'm going to have to. So is level 50 or not? That's a good question. What do you guess, Nathan? I'm going to say yes on 50. I think we got ourselves a 50 guy here.
Oh, yeah. D. Charles. No problem.
Yeah.
Part of the 5.
He's got all
15. He's part of the 5:15 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, it's an extra 15 minutes over here. So to the front
He's
now.
The guy outside.
Peterson, they've totally chilled out.
AM.
Look at this. They're not really pressing the pace here. They're not interested, it seems like. They know this is the front group at this point, so not a whole lot of motivation, I think. They're really waiting for those sections. And I think a lot of them are watching Espresso at this point. Gaja with draft is interesting that he's in here having his other teammate, because Gaja is a long time Zwifter too. Like super long time. Right. Look at this dude. I mean, nice. Woolly Mammoth over here. I found
that looks like a guy who hangs out at the coffee shop in my building. Definitely that's a modern look for sure. And noteworthy, that's the new draft kit that we were just talking about, the previous edition of the kit. No, that's the fresh duds.
And we'll see if the Hendersons will pick him up after he's done racing. And
I'm sure they're in talks.
Yeah, yep. The Hendersons. We'll see if they'll be on their way with the station wagon. So I don't know. Am I too young, or is that not a movie for you, Dave? No.
It is not. I do not. I'm assuming it's some kind of a caveman family.
Harry and the Hendersons, not a thing. All right, gotcha.
It's a caveman thing, right?
It is. It's the
or like a Squatch.
Sasquatch. Yeah, Sasquatch. Yeah. So Harry was a Sasquatch that was taken in by the Hendersons as an orphan, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah.
Gaja is now officially the Sasquatch orphan out on course. It looks like so hammered away.
There's definitely a little bit of Sasquatch in the DNA there. That's for sure.
And it's gonna have a lot of power in the legs. Just a compliment there. It's nothing but a compliment, obviously, right? As the avatar.
Again, we're talking about an avatar, so you can't take it. You designed it, right?
Personally. What are you saying there, Nathan? So.
Like if you're like, hey, he's got horrible skin. It's like, well, not real life. So, all right. Taking a look at a group, though, you're right, Nathan. The motivation in this group right now, and I completely understand this. There's no reason to go to the front and do a whole bunch of work if you don't have a reason to be doing it. Understand your motivation is a big part of becoming a high-level bike racer. Is you only do work when it makes a difference for you in a positive way. Right now, there's nothing to be gained. There's going to be another sprint coming up, and that might be, especially after what we've had here, which is a relatively long, calm period, that it could go ballistic over our next bonus sprint. That's what I'd be watching for.
Hadley, interesting name here. Hadley Dynamics here from the Cow. Is that actually the Cow team? Gonna have some buddies out here in just a second when they hit the pastures. Ireland SA. It looks like Condor CC with Aiken making a chase. Ponton is there as well. Jarvis and Tarmac. Tarmac. Now to the front, it looks like it is going to be Hale.
So the team with the black kit, is that Hale Dynamics?
Looks like it is. They've got plenty in here.
If that's the case, they are in unbelievably good shape right now. They have 3 riders in a group of 9.
I'm going to see if I can
that works.
See if I can find a few of the riders here, because I've got Hale, but I'm struggling to see what other riders are here with the same name. Because I think Condor CC is maybe what we're looking at, actually. So that's going to be the team. Yeah, Condor CC are the ones that are using the free speed.
There we go. It's a good-looking kit. Absolutely distinguishable.
Top 30 still. They can get some solid points for the team across the line, it looks like. And this is going to be your lead group, though, onto the downhill. 32-second gap. They're not coming back at this point. And it's Team Draft versus Espresso versus the 6 a.m. team. Hopefully they got their coffee. 3R Wasp is in there as well. And then, so Draft. And then I do see a blue kit, I think, of a rider who perhaps is Wahoo Lacole is out on course as well with Hamlet. So SZ is involved here as well. Peterson is in here with the Activist SZ team, kit on. That's the blue and white you're looking at. There's also another rider that's a teammate of them up toward the front on the right-hand side. I just saw come through the screen.
Looking like this might be the largest group that we take to the line today, Nathan. I realize we have 8K to go, but yeah, yesterday in Premier with the men's race, it was a good 45 riders, I would say, in that front group. The women was more like 15 riders that made it to the line together. This will be somewhere right in between that.
5.3 watts per kilogram coming from Peterson. Trying to press the pace just a little bit here. Sammy V from 6 a.m. Willems now.
Not really, though. You know what I mean? Like, they're keeping it, keeping it moving, keeping the legs ticking over. But notice there's no one team. There's no concerted effort. This is about as calm as it gets in an esports race, all things considered.
5.3 at the front there. I thought maybe he was going to do something.
Easy.
Over 5 watts per kilogram, for me, it's a waste of effort. Like, now Strachan 5.2 wants to press the pace a little bit for some reason, but I never find myself on the front personally. There's no reason to be there in a Zwift race unless I'm really trying to make a move for something.
That's exactly what I want to hear from a racer for sure. Strachan, though, it certainly seems to be motivated to do something. Just needs to, learn how to chill and to just keep that TSS low, keep the efficiency number high.
In the women's race yesterday, you saw it. Second place, Mary Wilkinson, who I don't believe is, from what I know of Mary, she's strong as can be, but she is not, in my opinion, the type of sprinter or strength of some of those other riders amongst that group. And I'm talking like a percentage or a 0.5% difference as far as the power goes. But she put out 5.3 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race and had that match at the finish line. It was brilliant the way that she played that to get second place on the day. Wilkinson, I watched her average throughout the entirety on Zwift Power. I said 4.3, 4.2, 4.4. It never went over 4.5. The other racers were 5.0 to 4.5 in the women's race. Wilkinson ends up with a second place for Canyon Esports because of how smart she played that race. As you were saying, cool as a cucumber. Be quiet. Wait for the exact moments, Dave.
Yeah, never put your nose in the wind. All of those things. Basically, while every other rider is burning calories, you're not, and you got a little extra to finish. That's the name of the game right there. But so easy to talk about it, so much harder to do it. But it's what makes the sport so much fun to watch, that's for sure. So the espresso rider, there you go. Michael, I agree. Interested about the Tron wheels for this draft topic. Tron versus wheels, I should say. Always compelling. You and Anna are at the head of the class on that conversation.
A little bit of a kick here. We'll talk about the wheels here in just a moment, but they do have some action happening as we do head into the King of the Mountain. Now, Gorman to the front with KWCC.
Talk about the points.
Followed now. Lots of points on the line. It's 1 to 10. 10 for the first one across the line. And Gorman pushes right from the get-go. We saw this over and over again throughout the day, though. First one to go, usually not shows. It's got to be 2 or 3 seconds and consistent all the way through without a serious chase. You may be able to hold it off. In
this case, it's different. Yeah, well, I think that we're looking at a really different bike race right now, Nathan, as he is going to hold on, in my opinion. And it's because everybody is saving for the finale here. Much different than what we saw earlier. We still have a ways to go.
Now, Gorman fading 5.0. The initial kick did do some damage. That is good for the breaking of the pack here. May not be good for the first across the line, as you do see a lot of riders suffering. Patmore race 3R. Now coming back, it is going to be Willems, going to be the only rider from 3R that's going to maybe make this. As his teammate struggling to hang on. Atkins from KWCC, the teammate of the rider who was off the front just a moment ago, struggling now as well. Maybe the reason why he backed off, to not make his teammate drop, perhaps. I mean, that it could be a reality. You want as many to the line as you can. If there's a DS saying, no, your teammate's being dropped, you got to bring these boys to the line. Top 10s matter for points. Now Wahoo Cole coming through. There's Blue with that kit. He's flying through the pack. Look at how he came straight through them all. Bartley now, but it's going to be Hamlet now on the front. 7-1, maybe a little early as we've got Bartley there with that feather power up now. Lines, though, the espressos. They kick the coffee in and 12 watts per kilogram to the line. They've shown over and over again why they are currently the leaders in this division.
Double shot right there. Boy, what's happening behind? Expecting this all to regroup here. You never really do know. It's a roll of the dice here as they're inside of 5K to go.
Yeah, and this is a 5-man break here. Not a lot of riders behind. I think this will stick.
This might be it. It might be.
It's right on the line, isn't it? It is. It's pretty close here. Look at how many are here. The snowball could happen. They may speed up enough here. It'll be a question as to how hard they work up ahead to hit. And these guys, they need to go tuck, punch over and over again to keep the speed high and not just tuck. And they need to be on it right here as soon as... Looks like a few of them did the right thing. Espresso hit 5.8 as soon as it went to a 2%. So the tuck went away. You got to push, and then it's going to go back into a tuck again in just a moment. You got to know the course.
Yeah.
You don't know if you don't know it's going to level out. You don't push. I've seen so many riders lose huge amounts of speed. Peterson, 3 seconds. This is right on the edge here. They got to work for it, Dave. They got to work for it. If they're going to make it happen, they can't sit around.
Now, and I have a feeling that this group is going to have the horsepower to make the catch as we are down to 3.5K to go as we re-enter the city of Harrogate here. And this is it. The race is on. You can see the small gap that this renegade group of 5 has. It's not that big of a group chasing, throwing some feather power up, down, so reducing the weight by 10% there for a few seconds. That's going to be enough to get one rider. That's going to be Gorman going across now. So the first rider making contact with our breakaway group, and now everybody is going to follow as we hit the reset button one final time here as we come up on 3K to go.
Gorman making contact, backing right off, getting into that second wheel now. Espresso, though, they were able to sit up. They were able to just watch as they came back up, and now it's going to be a question, will they just ride right on through? And that's a good move, actually, if you want to continue on as they slow down. Reaper, though, is that just an overextension? It was. Strachan, 7-1, leading things out for Lions, as Lions seems to be their man when it comes to the sprint situations. It does get shut down. Lions out of Scotland. Strachan now, 4-3. This is the last sprint, last points on the line, and then we'll be coming to the finish line here. Wahoo with Hamlet now going in the blue. We saw this from him earlier, but Espresso was able to match it, but are they too late? I have a feeling perhaps he caught him out. 15.3. The speed is there. Was it going to be enough landscape to the line? I'm not sure. Wow, what a kick. I think Hamlet held it off, but D Lines has got that 15 watt per kilogram kick. And now he's going to super tuck. Look at this guy.
Man. So either way, it was 10 and 9 points, so not that big of a difference for those two, but this is it. It has set the table for the finale of the bike race here. So Lyons is he makes that charge for the sprint. Yeah, he's going to come back into the group, so hit the reset button again, but no, not many riders are left, Nathan. We're down to around 15, still in with a shot for the win here. This is turning into an absolute Donnybrook in this group now.
We've got the black and yellow coming on through. It's going to be Espresso still with 4 riders. McDonald, Strachan, Lines. It looks like, unless is there one rider in here that's not Espresso that just happens to be in the same kit outfit as well. We see Lines, we see McDonald. To the front, Strachan is there. And it's going to be Horton. Yep. So there are 4 here from Espresso. They're really set up well here to chase anything down and really get a sprint in for D Lines here to the finish line. He showed that he's got the punch. Not sure anybody else. There may be 1 or 2 riders that have been sitting in and watching those sprints and saying, I just want the across the line, trusting it's going to come back. But I'm not sure. The kind of power we've seen from them and the way they've come over the top of the climbs, it seems to tell me that they're just a level above when it comes to the rest of the riders. And maybe they're going to have to be fighting for scraps off the table from Espresso.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, as far as the Espresso team goes, today was their day. There's almost no mathematical equation I can imagine where they don't win as a team. So it's going to come down to who's going to win the outright bike race today. Who's going to be the hero of the day, as they'll be looking at 2K to go. You've seen this finish if you've been with us throughout the day. It's a fun one to watch as they make that hard right-hand turn. That begins the 5% grade. That's where you start seeing who's got what as far as power-ups go. It's all in play.
Again, we are in the West 1 Division 4 is what we are currently looking at. This is the finish to the line with them. James Latimer, Sonny Peterson there, Chris Bartley, David Lyons, Dennis Gorman is here, Paul Hamblett from Wahoo Cole, Alexander Daniel also coming from Team SZ, Andrew Godstar from Team Draft, Christopher Horden from Espresso, Gary McDonald, and Hamas Strachan. They're all here. 6 a.m. Racing still involved, but 8 seconds behind, actually, so just getting dropped off. A little bit of a kick here from Strachan, trying to set up a chase, it looks like, or just a getaway. He does not have the right kind of power-up, so he uses that in order to just kind of to get this burst from the group to try and bring them forward and waste some energy from them so then Lions can set up well.
Yeah, Strachan has had a great day out here, certainly been active on the front. Let's see what kind of a result he can put in the books, because this is it right here, right now. We're going to find out who wants it more, and there is a big move. Nobody really has the ideal power-up, do they, Nathan? We're into a few hundred meters to go now.
Yeah, and here comes McDonald. Will McDonald be able to set up well, but it's going to be
go.
Lines I'll be watching out for. Lines from way behind, 15 watts per kilogram. He hasn't been timing it perfectly, though, over and over again, but he does do it this time. Lines to the line, takes it down. Maybe Daniel over the top of Horden or McDonald there. Let's take a look at the replay, because that came right on down to it. As I think perfectly set up there for Espresso. We said Strachan was making that happen in order to try and set up his teammates. And as Strachan goes backwards, as you can see, here comes Lines and McDonald. McDonald heads forward, as you can see. There's a little bit of a jump there coming from Bartley from ASTT. He will hold on for solid placing. But again, Lines has the 15 watts per kilogram. He times it into the final 150 meters to the line. McDonald unable to hold on over the top of his teammate, but that's okay. Now, Daniel, though, from SZ, I think just nipped it there. And then Horden has to settle. And McDonald thus will forward third and fourth place. Gorman fifth. Bartley, I think, faded all the way to sixth. We'll take a minute, though, to wait and see if we can find some more of the riders out here. As we do have Ben Metcalf from the B category, we're going to try and jump in with here over in there. And we'll be covering the rest of the B category as best as we possibly can for the broadcast, just to kind of finish things out. We are at the finish line here. This is the mess that is not the mess. This is massive amounts of riders out on course, hammering away, doing a great job. But let's see if we can find few of the others that have been having a good day out here. Actually, the reason why it's having trouble actually is because we are in, and here's the C category. We can jump in with them for just a moment. We'll jump in with the Bs as quick as we possibly can. Does look like we're in with the Electric Spirit Company. This is a new team that's been on my radar. We've been seeing a lot of that name, Electric Spirit
Cool name.
Company. Yeah, I've picked up on this as we. Here's another one, Abe Frazier. I mean, this is a team that suddenly kind of came out of the woodwork for me. I was unfamiliar with them, and they seem to just suddenly be everywhere when ZRL launched.
Yeah, always great to see a new team here. Again, these are our C's, as they've got a little over 5K to go right now. Walsh with a little bit of a gap.
I'm going to jump in with the B's actually here, Dave. Apologies on that, just on the jump around here, but this is going to get us into the front end of the B category. Ben Metcalf for Ninja CC with Larson, Max Pulse there, as well as G Turner 5 seconds back. This is interesting situation, Dave. 2 off the front with a huge pack chasing them behind. This is kind of fun.
Okay, let's get some data for you here after a whole bunch of climbing on this really tough course. 28K is the total distance, so they've got 1.2K to hold off this group. 5-second advantage, make it 4 seconds, Nathan. Kind of hard to say right now without too much
Ben
more
Metcalf
information.
has averaged 4.0 watts per kilogram for the duration here. Torburn Westerland's at 3.4, so Westerland's not actually with him here. Where is Westerland? This is Larson. Interesting enough to see. So I'm going to see what I can get for some of the live data. But Ninja Cycling, spelled with the G. This is a new team on my radar here.
So, yeah, just the physics and the math tell me it's really, really hard on this, anywhere for that matter, to hold off a group like this with that small handful of seconds. It'd have to be next level racers, and I think that all caught up to them here. Yeah, looks like we're going to reset. This is your front group now as they brace themselves. It won't be long until they make the turn, and there it is. This begins right by the Zwift Draft House there. So many fun memories from that place as we now enter the finale. Enter the Thunderdome, boys.
Cryogen to the front. It's going to be McName. Winifred's there now with the hot tub. St. Winifred's hot tub. Now
nice
sitting
name.
second, it looks like. Elding from the BRT coming over the top. It looks like 5 watts per kilogram. Harris there sitting pretty, but it's the riders behind there with 200 to go. If they don't get too much of a gap, they're going to be watching out for. Here comes the feather power up from the orange. It's going to be McName now with the first kick up in the 8 watts per kilogram, holding on the cryogen rider with the drafting boost. They got the gap at this point. I don't think anybody from behind is going to be coming up. Metcalf, the Ninja, maybe going to be able to make it happen. Larson from Max Pulse, right to the line, 8 watts per kilogram, not going to hold on as it's going to be Larson, followed up by McName from Cryogen, Entermed then from Max Pulse. That's your top 3. Metcalf held on. What a great job by Metcalf. After being off the front, getting caught like that, and holding on for 4th, great effort. But the smarts just, from the rest of the group there, they played it and ended up shutting it right on down.
That's a good indicator, though, that there are good things to come for Metcalf, as just getting the tactics figured out. You've got the engine. That's the fun part of racing, where now you get to engage your brain.
But you use your brain while you race?
You're supposed to. That's what it said in the book.
That's what it said in the book. There was a book? Yeah. What is this kit? What is going? London Dynamo. Going to the line here. Griffiths now, Team CLS. The Aero Power-Up's going to get the better of it. That's what it is there. I think that Parfit had it, but now Sharp there for Team CLS.
Sprint there.
3 across the line.
We were talking about Betty Squad and their kit. This is Team CLS, Nathan, that we're looking at. That is next level kit. Really good. I want to see more of this type.
Look at the orange accent. I mean, he's got the orange socks, the shoes. I mean,
unreal. Now they're together.
Look, Griffiths though has really next level though. I don't know about the gloves though. I mean, the gloves are just kind of showing off. I think
the gloves
they don't match. They don't match.
They're too much. They're gilding the lily, like I was talking about. Right? It's too much.
I mean,
you should just go with black gloves. Yeah,
it would have been because and really it was like, well, I'm gonna show off my KOM gloves is what it felt like there, rather than just keeping with the style. So good try, Griffiths.
Discretion.
8.5. You lose a half a point. It's an 8.5.
For going too big with the gloves.
Plus the laser helmet. I mean, just what? I don't know. So anyways, we're just going to the red and black. You know what would be nice? I wouldn't mind the laser helmet one bit if you could change the colors on it, but you can't change the colors on it. And like what? So
pretty sure that I got that helmet for accomplishing the Alp to Zwift.
Yep.
The roulette wheel, I ended up with the helmet.
Yeah, I got that.
That'll replace my
20 times.
Hat.
20 times.
You've gotten 20 helmets, huh?
I think I've gotten so many. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It was like 27, 28 times to get my Mellensteins. I rode the Alp to Zwift every day for like a month.
Can you imagine if I had gotten them on my first try?
Of course you would have. It's the secret code. It's the D Towel
Beginner's
code.
luck.
The Dave Toll code. That's what happens with that. So, all right, 2 seconds back. Kong is getting dropped off. PCC needs to get back on terms. Team CLS Express now. After that sprint, Sharp, a little bit of a struggle bus there. Going to make it happen. It looks like Adams now to the front.
Wait a second. Are you punking me, or is there really a rider whose name is Kong?
Yeah, Kong. He's right.
It's not D Kong, is it?
Yeah, Donkey Kong. Yeah, he's right here. Look at him, too. This guy has got the setup. This is Kong.
Okay.
Donkey Kong. You're calling this guy. This is happening.
He doesn't list his first name as Donkey, though. It's David Kong or something, I have to believe.
We'll see, Dave. It's
We're
Donkey.
gonna,
No, you found
now I'm curious.
we found Kong. We found Donkey Kong. We found the guy that it's on about all your life. It's been about this
That would
guy
be
this whole
hysterical.
time. It's David
Yeah.
Kong. It is David Kong. Level 15 Zwifter. He's been racing since this month, actually. Brand new Zwifter. Great to see Donkey
Welcome,
Kong
David.
showing up. He has no
David
idea
might
what he
wonder-
just got dropped into the middle of, Dave.
Right.
Look what
One of
he's
the longest- So, David, I oftentimes have known for saying it's on like Donkey Kong, right? So that's the joke. It's not on you. It's on me.
David's not even going to see the broadcast. He doesn't even know they happen.
He has no idea what happened.
Perfect. LD
Oh,
Squirrels to the front now. London Dynamo, blue and black, making it happen off the front end key. Now, 4.2 watts per kilogram. Going to sit in and let the rest of them work as his teammate goes. But Electric Spirit are lighting up the power grid. And
Wow.
no, those CLS are going to come over the top. Where's
There they
Donkey
go.
Kong? Donkey Kong, it's not on. It's not on for Donkey
Come on,
Kong.
David. He's fighting back, but this is at the very front. The Tête de la Course. It looks like we get down to 4 riders with a shot. Here comes the surge.
Evo!
Over the top.
Woo! Off the front, it's going to be the Evo Adams now. 10 watts per
go,
kilogram.
Adams.
London Dynamo trying to come across. I don't think it's going to happen. He got the
Oh,
gap
it's gonna be a little
right to
late.
the line. Not happening. Now NG followed up by Team CLS. That's your top 4 in that C category for the West. So solid
That's
little
great.
kicks.
Good job, guys. I'm really happy that we have a chance to watch the finale for other categories as well, as today was Division 4's day on Zwift Community Live. Coverage of the Zwift Racing League. Race 4 of Season 2 was a blast. I don't know. For us, it was a blast. I think for a lot of racers, Nathan, that was a tough day in the saddle, without a doubt. That's when you look at this Harrogate Worlds course, I think this one is always going to be the high end as far as the pain threshold goes for our riders.
Yeah, do see a lot of questions coming on through. Appreciate everybody hanging out in chat. We are working out, this was kind of experimental, Dave, like covering across all of the divisions as much as we possibly can, as much as we can possibly bring in. So appreciate everybody following along with the narratives. We'll keep on making a little bit of changes here and there to try and make sure that we can keep on with story and make something cohesive. There's this struggle or this tension, not a struggle, but there's a tension which can be a creative force that we need to use. And the tension is TV time. People are like, hey, we're all about the community, highlighting what everybody's doing. You end up just kind of looking at avatars over and over and over again and having no backstory, having no narrative, and live.
No
live
context
sports.
of like, who's on my screen? Are they winning? Are they chasing?
So
It gets right.
live sports are about a story being written right in front of you. And if you keep on changing what book you're looking at, there's no story, right? So, I mean, and I get it. And we see the comments, we see people, and that's part of the pull in our attention. We see people, well, so-and-so, our family's watching, or we think this is going to be happening. We want to see this person,
right.
show this person. And we're like, we so want to. At the same time, it's a hierarchy of values. It's a hierarchy of values, right? And the top value is going to be narrative at the end of the day, though.
And I understand where that serves that one person or their pod, their family, but it doesn't serve the greater viewing audience because they don't understand that it's Jerry's birthday or Jerry, whatever it might be in that one case. So that's the challenge that Nathan's speaking of is
we should
creating
just
a
have
broadcast.
birthday cake afterwards. We can just have birthday.
Right.
If you could go
Absolutely.
to the Nathan Garrett Twitch stream and I'll bring a birthday cake and Jerry can show up and then we can have TV time, which I'm just
bingo. But one thing I think that's fair to say, Nathan, is that when people do reach out, if there's something noteworthy happening in a rider's life or whatever it might be, we're all ears. And in general, I feel like we're pretty good at helping broadcast those stories. So of course we're going to miss one every now and then.
Dave,
Right.
is that if you are looking for those kinds of like, hey, we want to see this rider or we want to see that rider.
Don't do it in the middle of a broadcast.
If
where
you want to
we're
bring
already
us narrative,
right.
Bring it. You tell us about that rider, and guess what? We are pretty consistent when it comes to highlighting those things. So we would absolutely love to hang out, and I mean, having Grandpa on and his grandkids watching. I mean, that was one of the best, one of the best scenes that we've had, and we got messages afterwards that it made their day, made his day.
Love it.
So those are the kind of situations when we get some context then as well, where we can tell a lot more story and be a little bit more prepared. So, and we appreciate everybody that's hanging out. That was EMEA Division 4. We covered as much as we possibly could, as well as the women's race for 1 and 2. There is no D category in this. That's why we didn't jump over the D categories. If you need the results, I'm not going to run through all of the results actually from each and everything that we just covered. You can head over to WTRL.racing. Some of them are still populating as well as the Zwift data comes on through. But we will be back for the Americas East in just about 3 hours from now. And then we'll be covering the Americas West. I'm going to be on with Dave for Americas East in just a little bit. And then it will be Kate and Dave for the Americas West as usual. Again, WTRL.racing. One other thing, a little bit of housekeeping on some things, as we do have Martin. How many are signed up for this already? I think he had said over 500 racers had already signed up, and the real push for letting people know that this is happening hasn't even gone out yet. So the Zwift Duathlon League, we saw Anna Russell actually on her Instagram setting up specifically new setups with new TVs and stuff just to compete in the Zwift Duathlon League, launching Saturday, 17th of February. Zwift Duathlon League is a 6-week bike and run race series. Zwifters will ride as far as they can in 35 minutes, then run as far as they can in 15. There will be a 10-minute transition break after the bike to get yourself ready to run. Bike races are mass start, non-drafting affair, so choose your favorite TT bike. Great to see. WTRL, they just keep on keeping on. So doing an amazing job. All right, that's going to be it from me and Dave for a couple of hours. We will see you for America's East. If you haven't done so already, hit those follow buttons. Turn on your notifications so you know that anytime that we do go live. Thanks to all the viewers for hanging out with us. And as always, right on.